Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Let's go to the next person, everybody. I'm trying to get some debates up here. I do apologize. It's probably going to take a second because, it does seem like it was lagging. It seems a little bit better now. What's up? How old are you?
What's going on? 20, sorry.
20. What's your birth year?
2005.
If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
I voted for Trump, and I would probably do it again.
Okay. Why would you do that?
Honestly, I think economically, the way he's handled things is a little bit better than how Kamala would have handled things. I do think the tax code still needs to change.
Are you driving, by the way?
I'm not. I have AirPods in. I'm actually at the gym.
Okay, for sure. Sorry, go ahead. So what economically about that?
So I believe that, well, to start, I think that the tax code that was set in place in the first administration was horrible. And I believe that the Democratic Party would never do anything to, I guess, improve on that. I guess technically Trump hasn't done anything to improve that yet, but that is one of his promises, is that he's going to make changes to the tax code and improve the middle class.
Maintain the tax code. So did you know that Kamala Harris was advocating to keep the tax policy the same for income earners under $400,000 a year in terms of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and that she was only going to increase taxes on income over $400,000 a year? And then Donald Trump would actually increase taxes for income earners under $400,000 a year that Kamala Harris would have not imposed.
Right. So that's by affiliation, you're saying, is that due to the tariffs that it's increasing our taxes, not necessarily written in the document.
Tariffs are taxes.
Right, but not necessarily written into the, how would I say this? The actual, it's not per person, it's per importation.
Sorry, I can't really tell what you're saying. Maybe it's the AirPods. What would you just say?
Hold on, let me just...
Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the screen, as always, everybody. Chat, he said 20, by the way. Yeah, so why do you go back to what you were saying?
So with the tariffs, that's not necessarily written in the tax code to affect Americans directly. It's kind of indirectly that it affects us. Obviously, any sort of importation, increased taxes on imported goods is going to affect how much for services and products, but that's not necessarily a direct...
Which will disproportionately raise taxes, right, for lower and middle income individuals because they spend a greater proportion of their income on consumer goods.
...of its value this year alone. However, I do think that, if you look at China's economy currently, China's economy is deteriorating at a quicker rate than ours is, and that's our main competitor. So if we are affecting our, main foreign adversaries at a higher rate than it's affecting our own economy, is that not beneficial?
No, not necessarily, because it would harm both of our countries. And then also in terms of this, how do you evaluate that they are reducing, based on what
reducing in size and reducing in the strength of, not inflating more, but if you exact statistic I'm thinking of right now. Hold on.
If anything, they're leading towards deflation, right? They had a 0.4% decline in prices. So are you saying that, but that prior they had slight increases in inflation? It's okay. I'm confused. What's your point with this?
I'm saying China's economy is weakening quicker than the United States economy, even though the strength of the dollar has gone down.
Again, based on what metric?
Based on, the tariffs. I guess I'm talking specifically about the tariffs, but administration currently, that's a fact.
So you could say that Ukraine's in a better position now, but that's after the fact that Trump has changed his position back, and it would be better right now if it was the case that Trump was never in office.
And what's your grounds for that? I want to know why do you believe that? And it cannot be just from the funding aspect, because funding was pulled and his stance was changed once again, and now they're in a better position than they ever have been.
You keep restating the same point. Should I
That's
just
what I'm
go on
trying
the
to
next
say.
person? Like, this is a useless conversation at this point. Like, I don't know why we're going over the same thing over and over again. I've already responded to that point.
I understand that, but you have not, I guess, acknowledged the fact that pulling funding is a reason that Ukraine has gained its, I guess, tactical advantage, because that affected Putin's perspective on the war itself.
Explain how specifically.
It's about perspective and tactics.
Explain how the perspective changed
Because
in
whenever
such
you
a way in
see-
which it benefited the defense of Ukraine for him to cut funding for Ukraine.
Perfect. Okay. So whenever an adversary sees, whenever a country sees their adversary losing their main support line, which was the United States' main funding, and whenever you see that get pulled, your tactics are going to change. Whenever you see that they don't have funding and support from their main supporter, from the world's, basically their greatest ally for this whole conflict, whenever that support is pulled, you change your whole entire tactics. They were down. They were having to pull in troops from North Korea. They were contacting troops out of China to assist in the war, putting them on the front lines using them as cannon fodder. They were so down. And then when Trump pulls support, that's an immediate, I guess, cue to increase forces on the front line and immediately attempt to, and successfully, by the way, after Trump pulled support, they immediately started gaining land in South Ukraine. And then as soon as they had, I guess, kind of made their way into South Ukraine, Trump's whole entire opinion on the subject changed, and then those troops were immediately cut off and pushed out. And that weakened the entire supply line of the Russian troops and the entire supply line of their food, their transportation. So that basically was like opening the door and then slamming it in their face, hurting them more than it would have helped them. So allowing Putin to make advances just to, in turn,
That doesn't make any
cut
sense
off
because they would get
those
hit
troops.
harder if you hit them. Again, they would get hit for a second time, whereas in the other scenario, this is just like putting them in a better circumstance and then bringing it back to what it was prior. That doesn't actually like provide the next like hit or something like that. That doesn't make any sense. The process is not the same at all. So like you're not
When
really
has
actually
increased-
providing a method for it like being more beneficial. You try to say it like affected the supply chains. What specific effect would that have on the supply chains that would be beneficial for Russia?
Okay.
I mean, a negative for
Perfect.
Russia?
So perfect. Whenever you gain
Can you
that
tell me, how about this? Let me ask you this question. Where has, for example, Ukraine gained in 2025?
Ukraine gained into Russia.
Yeah. Until like
So
what they previously had.
one thing I can say is, so the box truck shipment of the, I believe, 48 drones that had, I believe, 100 pounds of ammunition on them that went and bombed a Russian flight line full of bombers and, gotta be careful here, like AWIZs and stuff like that, like huge gain, like hundreds of millions of dollars invested into these aircraft, and Ukraine makes huge advances and then immediately loses the South because funding from the United States has been cut off. That in turn lengthens supply lines and transportation requirements and funding and troop requirements. Every time you gain land, it costs you more and more troops, not just because they're dying trying to fight for that land, but because you need more troops
Where did
to
they
set
gain?
up infantry control points.
Where did they gain? Where did they gain?
Right, so this is where they gain. Whenever you lengthen those supply lines, it's like a rubber band. It may be thick whenever it begins, but as soon as you pull it across and lengthen it, it becomes thinner and easier to cut off. When Trump's funding increased for Ukraine, it was easy to then cut off that extended supply line, which kind of had an adverse effect, kind of like a domino effect, and completely collapsed Russia's entire push into Ukraine, which was more operationally
So
beneficial
what
for
supply
the
line did it
country.
cut off by doing that? Or, I'm sorry,
The southern supply line.
giving less
The
funding
southern
to
supply line.
Ukraine to defend themselves. How does that cut off a supply line for
That
for
no,
Russia? And then secondly, I'm asking you, what did Ukraine get back?
So I don't think you're understanding. So when we cut off funding, the Russian forces gained land in the south of Ukraine. As soon as we cut off our funding, right?
Meaning
Seemed
we're in
like a bad
worse
idea
position.
at first. Right. At first, I was like, "That's stupid. Why would he do that?" I was like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Why are we not in support of them? Why are we allowing Russia to take land?" And then when I see that line of effort get expanded and they pull farther into Ukraine, and then we immediately push funding right back in and we cut off those troops, and it has a domino effect, completely crippling the Russian push into Ukraine as soon as we put funding back in.
I'm
That is
sorry.
the operational damage.
I'm sorry. The funding being in versus out does not cause them to have the ability to like cut off troops. What?
No, as soon as we increased funding and as soon as we increased
Where did we cut off the troops? Where did we get back the land that they took from us?
South Ukraine.
Where in South Ukraine? Can
Do you have a-
can you give me like a single article that reports on that?
Yes, go to look up southeastern Ukraine province.
No. Give me like an article.
I'm on my phone right now. I can't exit TikTok or
You can swipe out, and you can go and find it, and then come back and tell me. And chat, I don't know if I want to restart my live again, but this is getting so frustrating. I can't do it anymore. This whole like fucking lag is unbelievable. It's so bad. It's intermittent. I understand it's intermittent. And right now it's fine. So we're just going to hold on to it being fine, but like it's just going to be bad in a second again. Yeah, the thing is if I want to reset my internet, I have to end the live. Gabriel, thank you for the Cooper flies. Thank you. Diane, thank you so much for the $20 on Cash App. Thank you so much, Diane. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Catherine, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. And Lola, thank you for the $15 for the internet fund. It's the area. I can't upgrade anymore. I might just have to like move at some point and find a place that has like fucking better internet.
Okay.
Go Feisty, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much, Feisty. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Give me some W's for Feisty in the comment section as well. Thank you.
So if you go to the BBC's control map of Russian territory, you will see on the timeline, if you swipe from the bottom of the map, that Russia's territory has been cut off. They lost about 20% of a province in a matter of a month, 2 months. You go to the map timeline on the BBC's Russia war tracker.
Okay, all right. I got you. This is from September. Nice. And where did they get cut off? This is Russian control.
Obviously, Crimea, I'm not referring to Crimea because
where does it say that they got cut off and like where we had a benefit because of the fact that Trump cut the funding?
Specifically the Donetsk region. We have Ukrainian forces have regained territory since the initial Russian push early 2025.
Where does it say that?
You can swipe on the map and see the timeline.
Swipe on the map. There must not be a timeline on this one. Let me type in timeline. Don't really see what you're talking about, actually. What's the title of the article you're looking at? Can you just clarify so that I can ensure that I could look at it? Yeah, I don't see this timeline, what he's referencing. All right, if you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen, everybody. Helps get it out to more people. Let me make sure the internet is fine. Hopefully it's good now. It's getting really frustrating. I just don't get it.
It's if you scroll down to the bottom of the article, you can see the older maps, but it's not.
What's the title? What's the title? I can't hear you when you're out of the app. You got to come back into the app to tell me.
Okay, my bad. Ukraine and maps tracking the war with Russia, originally posted in 2022, and it's updated 24 September 2025.
Yeah, that's the one I'm on. Where's the timeline?
The farther you scroll down, you can see the older maps. Can you not scroll on the timeline on the first map?
Wait, no, I see. I can scroll down, but scrolling down doesn't tell you specifically that we cut people off since 2025. This is talking about 2022.
If you're looking early August.
Here's September 2025. If
You're
anything,
at early August to early September to late September.
Early August to late September. Where does it say early August to late September? Wait, early August is 2024. It looks like Russia gains control. I'm confused which one you're looking at that tells you what you're talking about.
How military control of Ukraine has changed.
Wait, restate that?
How military control of Ukraine has changed. Look at the September 2025 map and tell me what you see around the city of.
I'm looking.
And then compare that to the map.
It's not coming up. Minerals yield, there is fighting, military control has changed. Here we are.
Right.
This
the
is
top right
2022.
map. Right. Look at the
And
top right map.
It just shows Russia controlling more land. Are you saying that maybe you have the argument for the north of Ukraine, but that was like in 2022 it was gone, and Ukraine gained ground in 2022 in November.
Specifically, I'm referring
September
to
2025. It says Russia edges forward. So actually,
right.
It's saying that you're wrong.
So it's edging forward. Yeah, it's okay. So edging forward as in it's gaining land in the south, but
yeah,
if you're looking at
no place on this map does it say that they pulled back from the 2025 rate in which it was. The end just says in September 2025 that Russia edges forward.
Look at Mariupol. Look at the city of Mariupol, and you will see that they've lost control of Mariupol.
Where do you? Okay, that was in 2022.
Southeast. Look at the top right map.
That was March 2022 to November 2022. That was in 2022. Okay, what is this guy saying? Sehen, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20 on Cash App. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you're on YouTube, everybody, hit a thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. It will help get it out to more people. I apologize for all the lag, everyone. I'm really not trying to have lag. It's been very unfortunate. I apologize, everybody. Hopefully it's a little bit better now. It's good. It's good. All right. All right. I'm glad it's better now, at least for now. At least for now. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. If you're on YouTube, again, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. We're going to keep going with the debates, everybody. We're going to keep it going.
Okay, so I actually found the YouTube video that I watched.
The YouTube video that you watched? Oh, no.
It's Jason J. Smart, and it's...
Why are you telling me a YouTube video?
Breaks Russian line in Donetsk region, which is the region...
Can I have something other than a YouTube video?
Okay, you can... It's got... Hold on. Like... I don't know where else to find the article, because I'm pretty sure that...
that was probably an important thing for you to justify, you know?
It has to be an article rather than an infographic created by somebody who tracks foreign affairs and global affairs.
Yeah. Instead of just some random YouTuber. Yeah, I would love for it to be an article. That'd be great. Like,
well, he has multiple articles cited in his video, is what I'm trying to explain.
Okay.
So if I'm pulling...
then why don't you tell me the citations for those articles? How about
because
that?
I'm not pulling up the...
You've watched the
Mute me.
video, right? Like, I mean, I'm a YouTuber, so can I cite myself?
Can you? I mean, yeah,
Yep,
technically. If you have
I say you're wrong, buddy. Look, I cite Parker Get a Job. He said that actually you're wrong, bud.
You're saying you can't cite yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm citing myself right now, and Parker Get a Job said you're wrong, bro. I
Oh,
cite
okay.
Parker Get a
Fair
Job.
enough.
Owned. Look at that. I'm citing Parker Get a Job, best source you've ever heard of.
It's not a bad source, I'll admit.
Yep,
You
not a
definitely
bad
have
source.
good
You know what I mean?
opinion.
I'm citing number one YouTuber.
Number one, I don't know. I think
Number
Dean's.
one
I
of
think
all
Dean's a
time.
little ahead of you right now, but
No, I'm number one. I'm number one.
I don't know. I agree.
Jennifer, thank you for the $5. Thank you, Joey, with the $5. Melissa, thank you for the $5 as well. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm not going to pull the exact articles that he used, but if you look up 7 towns in Donetsk freed, and you'll get articles.
Wait, repeat that again.
7 towns in Donetsk region freed.
And Donetsk region freed. Okay, and what is it from? Oh, is this the citation from YouTube?
Yeah, Politico EU is one of the sources he.
What
Let me check the other sources.
No,
he
no,
uses.
what's the title for the article? He literally just cited me the fucking YouTube video. I can't do it, man. Jennifer, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry, everyone. I was responding to my girlfriend. London, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. Hashtag Parker number one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I don't see what this guy's saying. Hey, man, let's just be totally honest. You don't have good evidence of this. Obviously, Trump cutting the funding did not lead to better circumstances in terms of the defense of Ukraine. So you can just concede. It's okay. Cassie, thank you so much for the $5. The most tremendous YouTuber the world has ever seen. You know, even my enemies say that. I tell you. Appreciate the watching. Thank you. Wow, so terrific! I tell you, like when people see the stream, they say, "Wow, it's the most terrific stream I've ever seen before." I've never seen such a stream that was so terrific before.
Okay.
Wow.
There is infographics, but I have found out that they were not pulled from an article. He created them, so I will have to maybe join again another day. But you're right. There is no article. He is creating his own infographics. I guess the only other thing that I would want to bring up is what is your opinion on what Candace Owens is doing? I know she just rescinded her support for Trump, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, given the fact that Charlie never...
We can talk about why you support Trump. I don't think this is relevant to why you support Trump.
I understand that, but when there's political violence and then you suddenly get Candace Owens switching sides right after there's political violence... Why do you think
I get you have some topics you want to talk about. There are plenty of people that want to talk to me about things that are not related to the live. We're only talking about things related to the live here. If you want to talk about something else, you can always start your own stream if you'd like to.
Okay. Then his stance on DEI is something that I was going to at least pivot to that.
Okay, so like what specifically about that? Can you name like a quote unquote DEI policy that you disagree with in terms of Democrats?
I disagree with DEI as a whole, as an entirety. I think it's stupid. I think DEI itself is just absolutely a horrendous policy. It's in colleges where it shouldn't be. It's in workplaces where it shouldn't be. It's in the government where it shouldn't be.
Can you give a specific policy that is DEI that Democrats agreed with that you disagree with? Give like a specific one.
Yeah, the Harvard Law School DEI policy, where it required the admissions policy of 2020.
Harvard admissions policy is not a policy from the Democrats.
I understand that, but I believe
Well,
that
I'm confused how that's relevant. We're talking about specifically like Kamala Harris. Like, what DEI policy did Kamala Harris support that you disagree with?
I thought it was about Trump, not Kamala Harris.
Well, we're making a comparison because, like, if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who'd you rather vote for? That's essentially the analysis. I'm essentially trying to get people to realize they made the wrong decision.
I understand. I understand that. I think it was a choice of lesser of two evils. I don't think Trump's the best candidate, but I do think he's a lot better than Kamala Harris would have been.
Kamala. So, like, but in what way? Because
My
again,
bad.
I'm asking you, like, what DEI policy specifically did she support that you disagree with?
About specific policies, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily specific policies that I'm referring to. I think it's that Trump has made a very strong statement stating that he wants to remove DEI policies from every aspect of business, education,
It's
and
just a
government.
buzzword. Then it's just a buzzword. You don't even know a single policy specifically that they're going to get rid of. It's just a buzzword to you.
Buzzword as in because I'm not bringing up a specific policy or referring to a specific policy, you disagree?
Yeah, there's no
That
specific reference for it. It's just a word that has essentially no meaning, right? That you're against. Under your no, but when I say a word that means no meaning, I don't mean the word that we're all using has no meaning. I'm saying the word in the way that you're using it has no meaning because you don't know what it means. You don't know what you're referring to in that context, right? When other people say DEI, like diversity, equity, inclusion, they have coherent
now,
concepts as it relates to it, but you seemingly don't have a coherent concept of what that is.
I'm understanding. I'm understanding what you're saying now. So if you go to the WhiteHouse.gov's front page, there is I guess, I know there's an article of some sort on there about DEI. If I look it up real quick, I might be able to find it.
Okay. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Let's go on to the next individual. We're going to get another person up here to help him out while he looks things up.
13985, that's what it is.
What'd you say?
Executive Order 13985, introduced by President Joe Biden in his
13
first day in
what?
office. 13985.
Okay. Alrighty. And what do you disagree with in terms of the policy?
So if you go on the whitehouse.gov, it pretty much sums up exactly how I'm in disagreement with it.
So you're supporting that you just went to the Trump administration website specifically and whatever policy that they brought up that they disagree with?
What specifically ending DEI requirements in the government, hiring requirements in the government, having to hire a certain percent of people, having
Like
to
what was the
positions
specific
for certain
what was the
people.
specific law that you're disagreeing with? Like what did it say?
It's not even a law; it's an executive order that I'm disagreeing with.
What specifically did the policy say? Like what did it change?
So the new White House policy on ending the radical and useless spending on the DEI policy.
Radical and useless spending? That's a ridiculous statement to make. You're just literally taking what Trump said and you're just running with it.
Okay, then prove him. Like you can't prove him wrong, or else you'd be addressing the issue right now instead of addressing the fact that I'm not.
No, I'm
bringing up a
asking
specific-
you. I'm literally just asking. I don't even think you know specifically what you're supporting. Is what I'm saying. You don't even know what you're disagreeing with. You don't even know what the policy did. You have no clue what the executive order did.
I disagree with the whole preface of hiring based on race instead of ability and education and
You know that
experience.
DEI doesn't only apply to race, right? You know
It
that
also
DEI
applies-
applies to other connotations, right? And
Right,
also,
exactly.
It's not just hiring based upon that. Things in the
race,
wait,
religion.
hold up. It's not just hiring. The policies are not just saying like, oh, just hire people because of their race. That's not what the policy says at all. It's specifically right saying that throughout history, specifically right because of the fact that there has been bigoted systems, right, is the case that people were not hired in situations in which they were qualified, right, if they're a part of a marginalized community. So specifically addressing underserved communities, right, throughout history, specifically within the context of the government, would be to ensure that people who are qualified get into these positions rather than being limited from being into these positions, right? So it's not saying
Okay,
people who are
yes.
unqualified get into these positions. It's saying
That's
people who are
not true,
qualified
though.
are put in these positions because historically speaking, practically all these positions have just been filled by white men, and that's not most of the country.
Okay, and I completely understand what the preface of it, and I agree with its implementation. I agree that everybody that's able-bodied, and you should always have to pick the best candidate, regardless of their race, gender, religion, age, mental ability. It doesn't matter. Whoever the best candidate is, that's who you should be hiring. And I feel like, in my mind, the concept of DEI goes against that. Because if you're requiring a certain amount of a group of people, regardless of their race, religion, gender, etc., of those elements, if you're requiring a certain amount of those people, you're
Hold up.
then, let's say,
Wait, no, hold up.
like,
We
let's
need
say,
to, instead of having the specific like unspecified particular policy that you disagree with that's DEI. How about you specify what specifically about the policy that you disagree with? Because it's not a requirement in the specific point that you're referencing. It's specifically to highlight communities in which specifically have been underserved by our federal systems and underrepresented, right? And by underrepresented, that means like less proportionally comparative to what the population would be making up on terms of like our overall population. Does that make sense?
um, rephrase, I guess, what are you asking?
I'm asking like what specifically did the policy establish that you disagree with?
I disagree with having a hiring requirement for a certain percent of a certain group of people.
What was the requirement? Where in the EO was the requirement?
There's multiple. It's setting a basis for a requirement. It's setting a basis for legal
Where?
action. If you
What is it? What does
hire
it
for
say
a job.
specifically that requires?
In which policy specifically?
The one that you brought up.
The White House policy?
The Executive Order 13985. Okay. All right. Do give it a second, everybody. It seems like he doesn't even know what you don't even know what it is. You're looking it up right now as we speak. You're literally looking it up right now as we speak because you yourself don't know.
Quotation, because I know you're going to tear me apart if I don't get the exact word.
No, but like I'm just saying you didn't know yourself already. And you're looking it up right now because you're trying to find that information. It was literally a boogeyman. DEI is considered a boogeyman to you. It's just like something that you're specifically saying is bad, but you don't even know what specifically you're disagreeing with in terms of the policies on behalf of the Democratic Party.
I just told you it's exactly what I just said. It's a hiring requirement for a certain race of people, religion
where was
of
the
people.
requirement for this specific policy?
The policy itself.
Yes.
And that's what I'm trying to get the exact verbiage for you, so you don't tear me apart for not getting the exact verbiage.
Go ahead. We'll give him a second. If you're on YouTube again, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen, everybody. And by the way, I'd love if you just like read it directly from like the policy itself. There's literally like a PDF as well. You could look over. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube. As well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Bridget, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much on Venmo. Give me some W's for Bridget in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. You absolutely are. Thank you. Lulu, thank you for the level up. Alrighty, do give it a second, everyone. Alrighty. He's reading through everyone, he just had to make sure he was getting the specific words right. Dude, just give him a second, everybody. Dude, just give him a second. He's just looking for the specific words. He's definitely not just like looking it up and trying to find the information in the first place. Gare Bear, thank you so much for the Chasing the Dream. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Number C says independent agencies are strongly encouraged to comply with the provisions of this order. Encourage. Interesting. Interesting. Do give it a second, everybody. We're gonna bring up another person to help him out in the meantime. Let's bring them up real quick. Sarah, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Oh. Alrighty. Do you give it a second? I apologize, everyone. Moose, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Moose. Alrighty. Lulu, thank you for the club victory. Thank you. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I love you, Dean. I love you. I love you.
Dean? Oh my. Dean? Interesting. Okay, Yo, what's up? How old are you?
28.
How old are you?
28?
You said how old?
28?
And what's your birth year?
1997.
Okay, if you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why so?
I feel like life overall is better to live now as it would be under her, because when it was under Joe Biden, it was just trash. Everything was impossible to get.
Before we continue to go on, your sound is a little bit muffled. Is there a way you could fix that?
I wouldn't know how to fix it. I'm just talking into my phone speaker.
Maybe it's like the phone case?
Let me... Okay, I removed it. Is it better or no?
No, it kind of does sound like maybe you got water in your phone or something. Maybe.
If you gotta skip me, you can skip me. It's all right.
I guess we can try. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I think that things are a lot more affordable now than it would be under Kamala, because under Joe Biden, it was obviously impossible for people to get apartments, houses, and now it's much easier for us to get it. And I think just life is overall better now.
Wait, so when did prices go down?
Well, the prices for apartments and the houses are down now.
Really? Where?
In Florida and New York.
Really? Florida and New York. Because I just want to let you know, like, housing prices have gone up since Trump got in office. Did you know that? Like, on average?
Not lately.
So, like, if housing prices have gone down, and specifically like within Florida, for example, maybe people are leaving Florida.
Is gas going down?
Gas has gone up since Trump got in office.
Gas has gone down the last few months.
Florida, no, it's gone up.
I just moved from New York to Florida, and it was much easier to buy a home out here.
Okay. So you would say, yeah, it's easier than New York because there are more people that live in like in a smaller area in New York. There's higher demand in the market. Okay. Any response? Oh, I think he just swiped out. Andrew, are you there? I can't hear you. And it doesn't look like housing prices are lower in Florida, by the way.
Yeah, if I could join in on Andrew's side, the value of the dollar has gone down at a higher rate this year specifically. So things may feel cheaper to buy, but in reality, the dollar was stronger under the Biden administration, but prices were higher. So it's kind of just your own perspective on things.
Well,
Things haven't really.
So,
if things are more expensive and the dollar is stronger, it has the same buying power. If it's less expensive but the dollar is weaker, then it has,
okay,
it's relative to your income.
How do you determine whether or not the dollar is weaker or stronger?
Oh, easy. It's inflation.
And
then in
price increase.
The dollars do is they will compare it to like the strength, the relative strength of like the euro or any other currency.
Sure. But the point we're arguing is that like it is the case that the price has gone up, right, for goods and services to a higher degree now since around since April, which is around 6 months ago, because of the fact that to a higher degree, because it is the case that Trump imposed tariffs.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. I disagree with him saying that things are cheaper to buy. I disagree with that. I do not think the average American is going to have more spending power than they did 3 years ago. But I do disagree with the fact that the tariffs have hurt our economy. Initially they did. I agree. S&P 500 went down multiple percents. It has since resurged, and then up until, I guess we'll have to see what happens with the new economic policy Trump just placed on China. But up until a few weeks ago, or up until I guess a week ago, the economy has been back on track as opposed to the downfall that it had earlier this year. But I would disagree with things feel cheaper to buy now. I would just say it's returned to the normal way. We kind of dug our way out of the hole that we were put in earlier this year.
So when you say dug ourselves out of the hole, we have lower real GDP growth since Trump got in office. We have higher unemployment since Trump got in office. We specifically have higher inflation since April when tariffs were implemented. Right? We have such a bad jobs report that Trump fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, claiming that the information was politically biased because he couldn't believe it was that bad. And then he hired someone new, and they indicated even less jobs than what was indicated for the month prior. So, like, that's specifically how the economy is doing right now. It does not look good. Thank you for the autumn. Thank you so much, CK.
I guess I'm talking specifically about the hole that, well, it sucks to say, but the hole that Trump dug us into at the beginning of the year.
Thank you so much for the leopard. Thank you so much, Jalen. I really appreciate it. Give some W's for Jalen in the comment section right now for the leopard. Thank you so much.
I think he's done a good job of pulling us back out of the hole that he dug us in.
I don't think that he has. I think that he's put us in a worse circumstance than what we were in previously under the Biden-Harris administration. And if Harris were president right now, we'd have a significantly better economy.
As relative GDP, or as just the spending power of a middle-class American? Is that what you're referring to?
Wait, repeat what you said?
Are you referring to the national GDP, or are you referring to the spending power of a middle-class American?
For what specific point? I referenced real GDP, I referenced inflation, I referenced unemployment, the jobs report.
Okay, so with unemployment, well, I guess, okay, fair enough. In his first term, Trump created large amounts of jobs and contributed to unemployment. Yes.
Really? So what did he do to create jobs? Jalen, thank you so much for all the galaxies. Thank you. And Gare Bear, thank you for the galaxy.
Well, first of all, slowing the outsource of jobs to Mexico and China, and then as well as...
Really? Because he net lost jobs under his admin.
What, net lost jobs for Americans or for people, period?
He net lost jobs overall. Also, we saw a reduction in real
overall, but not relative
we saw a reduction in real manufacturing investment as well.
Well, manufacturing investment.
Yeah, manufacturing declined in terms of its investment under Trump, massively increased under Biden, and has declined since Trump got in office.
Okay. You're talking... okay, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. Okay. I would agree, yes, with you on that. But my specific point is that people's opinions on how the tariffs affected our economy initially I agree that they were extremely bad, and it seemed like it was going to tank our economy. But since then, the tariffs have proved to be less detrimental than they were initially.
No, tariffs have shown to be very, very detrimental, and it's continuing to get worse.
I would disagree with that. I think it's turning around.
Really? So, like, again, but how do you evaluate that?
Well, first of all, if you're looking specifically at, like, investment prices and stock market index and stuff like that, everything's going up.
The S&P 500. The S&P 500 is not a measure for the overall economy. And also, it was at all-time highs under the Biden-Harris administration.
I said stock index funds in general. So,
yeah, that's the stock market.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Everything is on a rise right now.
That's not representative of the entire market.
then what in your mind is the representative of the entire market?
Real
Just for
GDP, inflation, jobs reports, and the unemployment rate would be better measures.
okay. I understand that the unemployment rate is has extreme issues, which I think should have. I mean, I think it's still possible under the Trump administration, and definitely wouldn't have been possible under the Harris administration, that we continue to cut the funding to food stamps and EBT and stuff like that.
So yeah, you know that's cutting. You know the big beautiful bill is cutting 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every single month.
And I think that we have. I think the blanket was a little too big on that. I think that that's a little far.
Well, hold up. So, are you okay with the fact that it cuts 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every month? So then, overall, you want the bill not to be passed. So then, why do you support Trump, given that he passed this policy? And 420,000 children on average every single month will lose access to free school lunch and breakfast.
I guess I don't. I guess I just think he was a better option than Kamala was. But I do disagree with.
How is he the better option if it is the case that his bill cut 420,000 children on average every single month off of free school lunch and breakfast?
Because under the Harris administration, all of our tax dollars would have went to people who are EBT queens and living off the government and shit like that.
That's actually fucking incredibly insane for you to say. What do you mean, quote unquote, EBT queens? That's such a disgusting fucking racist dog whistle if I've ever heard one. If you want to talk about specifically like if you want to talk about the context for food stamps, are you saying the 2.5 million people that were getting food stamps on that prior, right, specifically, right, shouldn't be able to get access to it or didn't need it?
First of all, that's not
420,000 children.
First of all, it's not racially motivated.
That's the distinction. The distinction is just in terms of work requirements that specifically was imposed by the Trump administration. Under the Harris administration, there was no extra imposed food stamps that they were going to put in place on top of everything.
I understand, but at least we're starting to do something about government assistance and figuring out that there's
cutting people off. That's not doing something about government assistance.
I understand
that's just cutting people off of it who need it.
There's people out there having children just to get the government benefits. Like there's people out there having 7 children just so they can live off the government.
Yeah. So
and that's a fact. You can't.
So okay, you think it's typical for people to have 7 children just to live off the government? I have a question.
Yes. Yes. Have you seen? There's so many videos. There's so many documented reports. There's so many. There's people, able-bodied people that are not working.
Why don't you
having children. Because I want to be a contributing member to society, because that's a core value of mine.
Okay, so then why are you saying that some people? Okay, so are you saying that people just don't have values who are having children?
Yes,
who rely on the government to some degree.
Yes, that is exactly.
When you have children, are they going to go to public school?
Depending on what tax bracket you're in,
I'm asking
or I guess how much money you make and what you want your kids to.
I'm asking you, like, do you think would you want your children to go to public school?
Mine will be going to public school.
Okay, so then that's living off the government, right?
Well, I pay taxes for my children to go to the public school.
Okay, yeah, and then the person who has children specifically, right, is also paying taxes, and then they're benefiting off the government because they also pay taxes into the system.
Right, I can see where you're coming from. However, what income are they paying taxes with when they're getting unemployment, living with EBT cards, and off of food stamps?
You said
and Section 8 housing and government housing.
You just said?
Those people that you're saying are contributing to the public schools or to their government assistance with their Section 8 housing or government housing or food stamps or...
What, you're just assuming that people are specifically, like, literally just getting everything paid for in their life, right? And they're just able to live with absolutely doing nothing. And that's just not true. I'm sorry. This whole narrative that you have built up in your head, that like a huge portion of people specifically on these programs are just on these programs specifically because they just want to live off the government and they're not using them as sort of like a safety net to ensure that they can take care of themselves and their families is ridiculous. Literally, you have no studies to indicate the percentage of people. You're just trying to stereotype people who are particularly on food stamps, Section 8 housing, on all of these different governmental programs because they need to be, because it's a necessary safety net, and you're trying to stigmatize them to an even greater extent for no reason. What you're doing is actually creating conditions in which isn't going to lead to a greater level of social mobility. Whereas if we provide these particular programs, it inevitably leads to social mobility in the long run. People aren't on these
Social
systems
mobility as in what?
People aren't
Take
on
a
these
pause
systems
there.
for their whole life. They're on these systems when they need it.
That's not true. See, that's
Yes, it's
where you're.
true.
That's
It
where.
is true.
That's not true because those people that are on these
Wait, what
systems do not
percentage?
get pulled out
What
of
percentage of
poverty.
people on these programs are on them for life?
I'm not Google. You have it right in front of you.
You tell me. You go look it up.
Don't. You're sitting at a computer. I'm on my phone right now, bro.
It's your claim though. You're specifically claiming that all of these people are on governmental programs and living on them for life. Appreciate the galaxy, thank you. So please tell me specifically what percent of people on these programs are on them for life. Go look it up. I'll thank some people in the meantime.
I see how you're going to go about this, and it's you cannot just live on these for life. I agree with you because you have to have proof that you're trying to get out of the situation you're in. That is how you become. I guess that's how you become able to get into these programs. It's a requirement, especially for like unemployment. You have to prove that you're able to.
Okay, so then here's what you want to do. You want to cut millions of people on average off of their access to food stamps every single month, literally because you think that there's 1 or 2 people on the system that shouldn't have access to it. Do you hear yourself? You want to cut millions of people off of it on average per month, right? And literally hundreds of thousands of children off of their free school lunch and breakfast because you think there was 1 or 2 people around the fucking entire United States that didn't deserve to get access to it.
So no, not okay. So I think I may have misspoke. I don't want to cut everybody off. I don't know if I said that.
Well, you're cutting millions of people off through the big beautiful bill.
See, I don't. See, I told you I don't necessarily agree with the big beautiful. Not okay. So I think I may have misspoke. I don't want to cut everybody off. I don't know if I said that. It's how he's trying to address the situation.
No, it's
now.
not. It
He's
doesn't
not
say that
addressing
anywhere.
it correctly,
Where does it say that in the bill?
Say what?
Where does it say that in the bill? Like, where did he address that?
Address the reasoning behind the bill.
Yeah, what did he say?
It's to cut spending. It's a spending cut.
Oh, it's to cut spending. So I'm sorry, if you want to cut spending, how about we cut all the funds that are going to millionaires and billionaires in terms of massive tax breaks? How about we cut the spending that Trump was putting into the military that we're already spending over $900 billion a year on? $9 trillion over the next 10 years. Explain to me why we need to cut food stamps and we need to cut Medicaid and we need to cut free school lunch and breakfast for children, but we don't need to cut the military. Explain to me why we need to increase the military budget within this policy, add $3.4 trillion to the debt, give massive tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires, and then the way that you think that you want to fund even just a small portion of it, not even the whole thing, it still adds $3.4 trillion to the debt. Just a small little aspect of it is cutting children off of their access to food and having more starving children in this country. That's ridiculous.
So
that's absurd.
I agree with you. That does sound ridiculous, but that is not exactly my point. First of all, I do not believe that cutting children off should not be our priority. I think it's something that we need to address. I think that all children in the United States should have free lunch. I take that back. Actually, no, that's not true. They should not have all free lunch because you have millionaires and billionaires that are sending their kids to school. They don't need free lunch. They can pay
all
for
of the children that were getting access to free school lunch and breakfast, specifically who are under the big beautiful bill that are losing it, should have access to it.
I understand that, and that's what I just said when I said I don't believe all people should have it.
Yeah,
I believe
the point is that you're willing to vote for the person that cut them off of it because you think that there's something so great about their policy outside that connotation. So what is so great about Trump's policies outside of that connotation that justifies the children losing access to free school lunch and breakfast?
Cutting government spending, allowing for the dollar to become stronger, therefore having
this adds to the debt. This policy overall adds to the debt.
Maybe in the short term, yes, but in the long term,
it doesn't cut government spending.
How would cutting a program not cut government spending? When you're spending money
overall, it adds the debt. The passing of the bill overall adds $3.4 trillion to the debt over the next 10 years.
Listen, listen. So, are you familiar with the 2027 plan with China?
Clarify. No.
Okay, so by 2027, Xi Jinping has declared that they will invade Taiwan.
Yeah,
which is
I've heard of this. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And they were a producer of 99% of the microchips in the world. They're probably the most important business in the world. And our stance has been that we're going to defend Taiwan and make sure that China can't take over, because if they do, they'll gain the economic, basically monopoly over the entire world. Because if they're able to nationalize TSMC, which is the creator of these microchips, they become the richest country in the world and nothing's going to be able to stop them. And that's a fact. So Xi Jinping has came out and said, hey, we have an aging population. people weren't having kids, and our population is aging at a dramatic rate. And post 2027, we're not going to have enough military age people to in turn invade Taiwan, take over this TSMC.
What is this pivot? My neck hurts.
Okay, perfect. Whenever you say that it's bad that we're spending more on the military, cutting these programs is a permanent thing, something that in the long term is going to save us money. The military spending is not a long-term thing. We are gearing up in preparedness. I'm in the military, by the way. We are gearing up in preparedness for
Hey, bro.
the 2027
Sorry
invasion.
to break it to you, but Trump signed off on more debt-related spending. How the hell is this saving us money?
What do you mean, how is this saving us money?
Yeah, Trump
It's
signed
cutting
off on
programs.
$4 trillion more debt-related spending in his first administration. The big, beautiful bill that you just talked about added $3.4 trillion to the debt over the next 10 years. Explain to me how Trump is saving us more money.
Because he's cutting off a program, and then, okay, he's spending money, but it's in preparedness for the short-term goals that we need to reach in order to be prepared long-term.
So long-term goals.
Yes, for long-term goals.
Which ones?
Economic stability and the strengthening of the American dollar.
Yeah, he's making that worse off by imposing tariffs.
Short-term,
Tariffs
yes.
weaken our dollar.
Tariffs are not long-term. They're not permanent.
Okay, if they're not permanent, then they're not going to cause a permanent increase in domestic manufacturing. So what's the point of tariffs?
To, in the short term, leverage China. That's what the whole point of this is to leverage
Why are we
China.
placing tariffs on other countries outside of China?
Everything it's all leverage. That's all it is. Everything is
Why are we
leverage.
placing tariffs on countries outside of the context of China?
Well, first of all, the EU tariffs were mostly because they were not contributing their fair share to NATO.
You understand that they were heavily increasing and they got over like the 2%. So what do you mean? What's the fair share?
And they should be able to hold. First of all, they did not get over their 2% before tariffs were implemented. That's a misconception.
Yes, they did. On average, they're over 2%.
On average for Europe, period. I'm talking specifically by nation by nation.
We're talking about NATO, yeah. They are on average over 2.
That's not correct.
Yes, it is.
How many countries are in NATO?
I can check.
So you're saying if all the countries put together, 32? So that means everybody on average is going to spend 3%.
2%.
You're basically, that's
2% of their GDP.
You're talking about European countries specifically on
Yes.
average.
Yeah.
Or my bad, EU countries, I should say. Okay, EU NATO countries were not spending their fair share as compared to the US. I believe that everybody should spend the exact same percent on
So I have an article right here. NATO members all hit 2% target.
And when was this?
Here actually I have one that was from 2025 here. Here's 2024. This is before from the Atlantic Council. Who's at 2%? It tells you, and most of them are over 2%.
Okay, and then what is
the title is Who's at 2%? Look at how NATO allies have increased their defense spending since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And most of them are over 2%. The ones that are not, there's only like, I think it's like 5 that are not, 5 or 6 here that are not over the 2%.
And what is the names of those countries?
What's that?
Which countries are those?
The ones that are not over? Croatia,
Correct.
Portugal, Italy, Canada, Belgium, Luxembourg, Slovenia, and then Spain. And Luxembourg doesn't make sense to do 2% because of the...
No, I agree 100%. They need to be... They're already kind of subsidized by European countries in the first place. So that would not make sense. I agree. But...
But like, do you understand my point? Like, most of them are already above. Like, I can tell you, I can give you the examples.
I understand that, but when it comes to what percent that the United States puts into NATO, which is pretty much a treaty to defend Europe itself. I mean, I understand that Article 5 says if one NATO country is attacked, they're all attacked. That's mostly going to be European countries because that's when shit breaks
Can
out.
you just acknowledge that you were proven wrong? That it was not because of the 2%? Because most were already at the 2%.
What's 100 divided by 32, Parker?
What's up?
What's 100 divided by 32?
That's about 3.
Yeah, it's about 3. So should everybody be putting in 3?
Why is 132? What's the point of those numbers?
Because there's 32 countries. Is that what you said?
Oh, okay. What's the point of dividing it by 32? Why would you find what percent GDP they need to do?
Because if everybody put a exact same percent, that's their fair share.
They could do 2%. Why does it have to be 3%? I don't know why you got.
Is there 50 countries?
To get 3%.
Is there 50 countries or is there 32 countries?
There's 32.
Okay, and if you divide
by 32, though, why do you divide 100 by 32?
Because that equals 3, not 2. Everybody should be putting in 3%.
I'm asking you, but why do you divide 100 by 32? What's the point of doing that?
Because there's 32 countries.
But why are you doing 100 divided by 32?
Because there's 100% in one whole number.
Why are you trying to get what do you mean 100%? What are we getting to 100% of?
Funding. NATO funding.
What? What is this reasoning?
If each country, if we have a designated NATO number for funding, countries should be putting in 3% of their GDP.
Wait, I'm sorry. Because
sorry,
we want to have 100% of the funding doesn't mean we take 100 divided by the amount of people who are on NATO, and then that determines what the percent should be. That makes no sense at all.
Why not? Then everybody would have the same.
My brain is melting. It's actually melting. What is going on?
And listen, that's why these European countries have free healthcare and shit, because we're spending all the fucking money
They meet the 2%. They meet the 2%. And
I
they
understand
spend half
that.
as much per individual as we do here in the United States. The reason why they specifically have universal health care is because they don't have as much specifically limitations in terms of putting universal health care in place, because it is a case that we have a greater level of corporation control over our politics.
And I believe universal health care is a human right. I think all Americans should have that.
Okay, and then you support Trump.
Yeah, that's one thing I cannot get with on him. But, there's more than one policy or more than one opinion that you have to... I honestly probably disagree with more than I agree with on him, with Trump. But I disagree with more stuff about
You
Kamala
disagree with
than
more than you agree with. Okay, so, again, can you name 2 policies of Kamala Harris's that you disagree with? That she advocated for?
Allowing transgender athletes to play in sports. She did not speak on it pre-election. Talking pre-election here. She did.
What's the second one?
Shit, name it. I don't care. She wasn't going to change the DEI policy, and Trump did. So
Okay,
that's period.
so he doesn't know the second policy, and the first one he said is that he brought up the policy, and then he said she never talked about it. You contradicted yourself, you fucking idiot.
I'm talking about 2 different policies. First of all, I just
What?
said the
You
DEI
didn't talk
policy.
about 2 separate policies. You said one of them that she never even talked about. So how could it be
Exactly,
a
the
policy she
transgender
advocated
athlete
for if she never talked about it? How could she be advocating for the policy if she never talked about it? That makes no sense.
Because she declined it. She declined to answer questions about it because for the
That's
first.
not advocate. That means she didn't advocate for it.
I understand that, but she didn't advocate against it, and Trump did. Boom. There's one reason.
Wait. Okay. So you're saying advocate against it. I asked for a policy that you disagree with. So I'm not. You didn't provide a policy you disagree with.
The fact that she doesn't support getting those athletes out of professional and collegiate sports, that's my reasoning.
Okay. So can you name one trans person playing in sports that you think is dominating?
Leah Thomas.
Who? Leah Thomas is not playing currently, and also was not dominating. She was definitely not.
Okay. And was she playing?
Yeah,
Under
but
the Biden
in the
administration.
past she wasn't dominating.
Oh. In the past, she wasn't dominating.
Yeah, she wasn't dominating.
I understand that, but she was a transgender athlete that was very competitive in the sport.
Okay. That doesn't mean that she was dominating. And also, again,
Did
give me like a.
I say anything about dominating?
Could you name any other person? And I asked you about dominating. I said name one specific trans person who was playing who was dominating women's sports.
It's not about if they're dominating or not. It's if
It
they're
is. It
competing
totally
in
is.
sport.
Wait.
Because guess who's going to be in the same changing room?
Are you? Did you ever vote for a candidate that bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they were changing without their consent? Who was a man?
Not. Yeah, that's what Biden did, right?
No. Would you ever specifically?
No,
would you ever
I'm messing
specifically?
with you. No, that's horrible. I agree with you, but that's
So
not.
would you
a policy.
vote for a man that
I did.
bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they were changing without their consent?
It's going to be on my
So you
conscience for the rest
seemingly
of my
don't
life,
give a
but
flying
yes.
fuck about that at all.
Listen, it's about policy. Listen,
Oh,
don't
really?
just because
Now-
I vote.
yeah,
listen,
yeah.
Hold on. I have a good point to make here. Just because I voted for Donald Trump doesn't mean Donald Trump is going to walk into my daughter's bedroom and look at her while she's changing. But it will ensure that while she's
but you're okay with him doing that to other people's daughters? You're okay with him doing that to other women? You're okay with him doing that to other girls?
Does me voting for him enable him to do that more often?
Yeah, it enables people like that to be accepted to a greater extent in our society, and it perpetuates the greater likelihood of this type of behavior happening to a greater extent. So if you care,
I disagree.
If you care about the women and girls in your life, well, then you wouldn't support such a fucking treacherous and disgusting, horrible man like Donald Trump that creates such horrible conditions for women in this country. Right?
I do not support his character. You're right. I do not.
I'm Push the Galaxy. Well, you can't say that you don't support the character while simultaneously supporting him and putting him into the position of power without actually being able to mention specifically the policies that you think are so great.
Listen, it doesn't matter what his. I mean, okay, it does matter, obviously, or else he wouldn't get the stage, or he'd be in prison, which he should be. I do agree with that. I do agree that he should probably be in prison, but. Well, there's no really but to that.
You think Trump should be in prison, but you think he also should be president? What do you think he should be president from fucking prison?
Listen, I know that's kind of crazy, but let me ask you something, Parker.
No, hold up. Do you think that Donald Trump should be president from prison?
No, that's not possible legally, Parker.
Okay, but he should. So you think he should be in prison, which means you think he shouldn't be president, then, under your view?
Oh, no. Listen, Parker, I think you've got me all wrong. I would have voted for anybody who was in that slot against Kamala Harris. That was better than Kamala Harris. My bad.
Okay, so why is Donald Trump better than Kamala Harris?
I just told you. You asked for two policies, and I gave you two things that I disagree with Kamala on.
You didn't. You didn't give a specific policy on either or.
I told you two things. What was the second
policy? You didn't even provide. The first one wasn't a policy, but
I did. If I were to grant it,
what is your second policy then?
I gave it to you at the very beginning of our conversation.
Which was?
The DEI movement that was passed.
Which you still don't know what it was. So that brings up a great question. Did you find out what the DEI words were? Did you look it up yet? Did you find that information? Because you completely tried to ignore that one. You tried to move on and you tried to pivot. So I can't believe the fact that you brought that up again.
Did. So this is the specific thing. Since I'm a government worker. So whenever I see for government agencies that they are supposed to, quote.
He swiped out of the app.
Assess. I'm going to get the exact words for you. You know, I want to make sure they're exact.
Go ahead.
Assess the extent to which systematic barriers are in place.
Assess why systematic barriers are in place. Okay, what's wrong with that? Okay, I can't hear you right now.
And to perpetuate them to... One more line.
Currently. I didn't hear like any of what you said, by the way. So go out, memorize it, and then come back in, and I'll thank some people while you memorize it. Mark, thank you for the $6.60. Thank you so much, Mark. Jessica, thank you so much for the $1. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Rebecca, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Teresa, thank you so much for the $50. Thank you so much on Venmo. Can we get some W's for Teresa in the comment section right now for the $50 on Venmo? Thank you so much, Teresa. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Millie with the $10. Thank you. And Christina with the $50 on Venmo. Can we get some W's for Christina and Teresa in the comment section right now? Thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. Thank you. That is so kind of you. Avery, thank you for the $5. Thank you. As well as I need to catch up on YouTube real quick. Give me 1 second. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. And if you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Linktree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat, everybody. Let me look at YouTube real quick. Give me 1 second. Rich, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Moose with the $50. Thank you so much, Moose. I really appreciate the $50. Thank you so much. Get some W's from Moose in the comment section right now. Thank you so much for the kind words. I can't swim. Thank you for the $1. Ellen, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I definitely do not. Randy, thank you for the $5. Jen, thank you for the $2. Thank you. And Carolina, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. Hopefully he has, I'm done thanking people now. Hopefully he has found the words.
So each agency must assess whether and to what extent its programs and policies perpetuate systemic barriers to and benefits people of color and undeserved groups.
Yeah, so you kind of cut out. So it seems like you're just saying that they were assessing different systems that marginally impact people.
My argument against that and the administration's argument against that is the vagueness. what is the exact way that they're supposed to go about doing this?
Now you're worried about vagueness. Didn't you not know what the policy was in the very first place? You came up here with the most vague point about DEI ever. You didn't even know the specifics of what you're referencing, and not only until now did you figure out what the specifics were.
Listen, when taken, okay, not taken out of context, but when taken with, I guess, depending on what barriers should be knocked down. No question about that.
Wait, so then you don't disagree with the policy?
I don't disagree with the verbiage of it. However, I disagree with the fact. Yeah, 100%. No, I have the same reaction.
Wait, did you say that you disagree with the words, and now you're saying you agree with the verbiage?
So the verbiage itself, depending on your perspective on it and how you understand it, can be good or can be bad. I agree.
How could it be bad?
Perfect. Awesome. So the reason it is bad is because there's no specific description on how they're supposed to knock these barriers down. So instead of knocking them down, they just created hiring. This is what businesses are doing and the government is doing, is they're just pushing for certain races, groups, religions to be in positions or hire them.
Again, you're not telling us the specific policy that does that. And again, in reference to this policy, you're only referencing one of the aspects of the policy. You have to read the rest of the policy in order for them to be able to evaluate that. You didn't even read the whole policy yet. So actually, you know what's so vague? Your understanding of any of the things you're disagreeing with.
See, I guess you're not getting what I'm putting out right now. It's the fact that it's vague enough to the point where people felt that they would be held legally liable if they didn't put up certain requirements for hiring inside of businesses. It doesn't say that in the policy. I agree with you. The verbiage of the policy is good. It makes sense.
Who thought this?
It's how it should be.
Who thought this? On the policy, it literally said that it just suggested people. It never had any type of enforcement. If you agree it never had any type of enforcement, explain to me how the hell, right, it would have done that. You just lied. You just made that up.
I did not make it up because it doesn't give you specific requirements for hiring in the policy.
Okay, if it doesn't give you specific requirements, so then how does it enforce it?
Because you can pull up that exact verbiage that I just said, and you can say, oh, they denied me hiring because I'm black and or I'm a Muslim, or that I'm gay, or that I'm, identify as transgender.
I'm sorry. If you were denied based upon those reasons, you shouldn't be denied. According to the Civil Rights Act, specifically, you wouldn't be denied.
I 100% agree with you. Again,
you shouldn't be denied,
agree.
right? That's the law. The law makes it so that you cannot be denied about those things.
I 100% agree. But with this policy in place, that vagueness on the verbiage makes it to where you can say, just because I was transgender, I got denied. Not because I had less experience.
No, it doesn't. You're making this up. You are literally yapping and making up bullshit.
No, I'm telling you that this is exactly true. That if, for example, let's just say
it's exactly true. You haven't even read the policy yet. How the hell could you know it works that way, dude? Come on. You're making this up and you're running with it. You're overly confident about something that you did no research about.
Just because I've seen other people talk about it. I've seen Charlie talk about it, rest in peace.
Oh, God. The fact that you just cited him as a source specifically is actually diabolical. I'm sorry. You actually have to do research on things. You can't just say that you listen to a debate bro talk about it.
Listen, this is where I agree, but some of us have different jobs than you. Your job is to sit and to learn about all this stuff, and you're a great wealth of knowledge. I agree with you. You're extremely smart, and if you were up for election, I would vote for your ass. I'm not gonna lie. You're extremely smart. This is your job. This is not my job. I don't have that kind of time to do those things. You have to understand that. I don't have...
No, you do. You do. You
totally
you have the ability to critically think. You absolutely do. You have the ability to
100%.
research. You're doing that on my stream right now. If you have the ability to watch Charlie, you definitely do, right? And it is the case that people in the chat, right, also have other jobs outside of the context of me, right, and still have the ability to be able to do this as well. So, I don't buy the excuse that you don't have the ability to do any type of critical thinking.
I know, but you cannot compare me to yourself whenever it comes to...
I didn't compare you to myself. I compared you to the people who are in the chat, who also have jobs, right?
You don't know what all of them know. Maybe the specific ones that are pulling up things have, let's see, you have 5.5 thousand people. Let's say 100 people are commenting.
3,000 people on YouTube.
Oh, that's nice. Congratulations, by the way. That's awesome. Basically, yeah, it's so let's say you have 8,000 people in here, and you've got 150 of them that know more about a policy than I do, because we're jumping from policy to policy, just trying to, I guess, understand the scope of what we're talking about, which is Trump versus Kamala. There's going to be 100 people in there that know. God damn, I'm not going to get that right. I'm sorry.
You could just say Harris.
Harris works, yes. I'm just not going to get everything right, you know. I mean, there's 8,000 people here, like that's awesome, but there's going to be people that know more than I do, and there's going to be 100 people.
Wait, that's fine.
Like, you know.
I'm just saying that you have the ability to do it. You were trying to discount yourself and say that you don't have the ability to critically think, or you didn't have the time to, and I'm telling you, you do. You do have the ability to go through this. I'm not asking you to do it overnight and to know everything off the top of your head always at all point in times. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you have to know as much as I do. Right? That's not what I'm claiming as well. I'm just claiming that you have the ability to do a research on this claim before you like believe something. You shouldn't just believe things because you heard Charlie say it. And I'm especially saying that because I debated him and I knew that he fucking lied all the time, and that's just true, right? It is true. He lied all the time. You can look at the videos on my account. You can watch it. I literally do a fact check of literally the conversation. It's consistent lying. So like I have to acknowledge that.
Right, and I mean, he also, like, he may not, this may have been subconscious lying as well. Like, he may have been in the same position as me where he has a source that he trusts and it was lying to him. You know, and maybe that's just, you know, I guess he's trusting a primary or a secondary source that's inaccurate. And by me trusting him, that's trusting a tertiary source that's inaccurate. And so, of course, there's going to be, the farther you go down the line, the more inaccuracies you get. There's only so much you can take from perspective, but when it's a game of telephone like that, you're gonna have obvious things that are wrong. So like fact checking during a debate like this, both sides are gonna have things wrong, and that's a fact.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I definitely think it's gonna be more prevalent in terms of that side for sure, because of the nature of the conspiracies that you have to believe in to be able to like follow along with Maga. Like,
can you just name one that's
stolen in 2020?
Oh, I don't think shit. No, I don't think. Okay. Oh, okay. That's kind of a rough subject with me because there's so many MAGA objectives and subjects that I do disagree with. I don't label myself a conspiracy theorist. I don't label myself MAGA, Project 2025, any of that.
Let me see if I can get you real quick. Do you think that if a presidential candidate incites a violent insurrection, that they should not be allowed to be president?
Well, January 6th, that's what we're speaking of right here. I disagree with January 6th. I 100% think he was in the wrong for that.
No, just in general. Do you think if a presidential candidate incites a violent insurrection, do you think that they should be allowed to be a presidential candidate?
That's a good question. More legally, I guess technically he can. Morally and ethically, it's probably not the best idea to have somebody that does that.
No, legally you actually can't. If it's proven that you incited a violent insurrection,
why is he not? Why is he in office then?
Yeah, because it is the case that the proof specifically that he incited the violent insurrection comes after the point in which he pardoned the violent rioters, which he did from the position of presidency. Right? So this isn't something that could be ingrained in the context of the law, at least from a criminal law perspective, because he's currently president. So that's the issue. And now in terms of this, that's what shows us as people that he condoned and was okay with, right, the violence that happened on the day. If he pardons them and he calls them patriots, that tells us he was okay with the violence on the day. Prior, he had enough plausible deniability to say that he didn't want the violence because he said peacefully protest, right? Although it took him hours in the National Guard and to tell people to go home, right? It is the case that he had enough plausible deniability by just saying that. But he doesn't have that plausible deniability given that he pardoned violent rioters who beat police officers. So if we can just establish from this basis that he has incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol, right, an unjust insurrection, then clearly wouldn't we say that he shouldn't be allowed to be a presidential candidate?
Sorry, you cut out there for the last, I'd say, 2 sentences you said there.
So shouldn't we say that he shouldn't be allowed to be a presidential candidate given that he does, or he has incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol, an unjust violent insurrection?
I definitely think it hurts his case. I think if, let's say we didn't have this two-party system, there's no shot. But the fact that we had two choices, that's the only reason I voted for him.
Okay,
sorry,
again,
the only reason
really
I would,
showing how Kamala Harris is worse.
Kamala Harris is an extension of the Biden administration, in my opinion.
And
Biden was not all there. Trump is losing his shit right now a little bit, I would say. He's shown that he's declining mentally and physically.
I have a question. Are you driving?
No, my buddy's driving me home.
Okay, for sure. Sorry, what were you saying? Repeat what you just said.
Sorry about that. So let me think about that again. Oh, okay. So I see Kamala as an extension of Kamala, first of all.
Kamala. I'd say Harris.
Harris. I see Harris as an extension of the Biden administration because I feel like she was puppeteering the whole time. Or at least for the last 2 years.
Okay, so what did the Biden-Harris administration do that you disagree with?
That's where I don't think they took enough action. I think they were very conservative in their policy, and I think there was action that was needed. And I think the only person that really does that kind of stuff, like you look at domestic policy. I think Trump has made more changes than anybody. I mean, you saw him assign that many executive orders that put that many waves into the media and stuff like that right at the beginning. It shows that he at least is trying to put effort in and make changes.
So you're saying that they had no domestic policy, but you also said that they were like too conservative in their policy. So which one is it? And also
conservative
Trump's
as in they didn't make right. No. So, well, that's another funny thing. That's a different rabbit hole. Him calling conservatives dumbasses and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is they were too conservative in not making policy changes. Like they were kind of just like stood idle. They didn't really do a whole lot. You didn't see a whole lot of media coverage over executive orders, policy changes. So you didn't see as much media coverage over it though. So why is that?
So just because there wasn't media coverage over it doesn't mean that they didn't do it. So there was the bipartisan infrastructure bill, there was the Chips and Science Act, the PACT Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the American Rescue Plan. All right, we can point to plenty of the policies specifically passed by the Biden-Harris administration that were beneficial, especially for the working class.
So the Inflation Reduction Act did not actually reduce inflation.
That wasn't the main aspect of the bill. I know it's named that, but the main aspect of the bill was
to
build up domestic manufacturing. You can say you disagree with the name of the bill. That doesn't change that you disagree or not with the policy in of itself.
That makes absolutely no sense. I'm sorry.
What? How? How does that make no sense?
If the name of the bill is an Inflation Reduction Bill, the point of the bill is to reduce inflation. That's like saying a circle is a circle.
Yeah, and the big beautiful bill is not a big beautiful bill.
Okay.
And it
did
reduce inflation. It just didn't reduce inflation to a very high degree.
I would disagree. So what you're saying is a fallacy because nothing's reduced inflation. Like inflation is going to exponentially increase because the value of the dollar is just exponentially decreasing. So you can slow the exponential acceleration of inflation, but you can't slow the inflation itself.
That's slowing the inflation. You can slow the acceleration of inflation. It's slowing inflation. Now Trump is imposing a greater upward. Trump is putting upward pressure on inflation. Did you know that? Because it is the case that he is imposing tariffs, which puts upward pressure on prices.
You have to think though. That's a short term thing. The tariffs are not permanent.
Okay, so again, you say short term. It's still putting upward pressure on prices, at least in the short term, correct?
Okay, that's fine. Yes, I agree.
And if it's only short term, then you're telling us that then there's going to be no specific domestic manufacturing increase in the long run. Did you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I'm cutting out really bad right now.
So if it's just short term, then there's no domestic manufacturing increase in the long run.
I would disagree with. I mean, that's for future. I mean, that's from future legislature. I think that will be addressed, hopefully, future in the administration.
Wait, repeat that. Sorry, you said that will be addressed by the administration. In what way?
I guess we'll have to see, but I don't think that's written in. I don't think that's written in the sand yet. I say that because things change so often. So.
Okay, so you're just saying like, oh, maybe the economy won't be bad in the future. That's not like a reason as to why like Trump is a better candidate, you know?
I understand that, but I don't think. I mean, there's no proof. Kamala has never done anything. She has never had an achievement of her own that changed any sort of economic standing.
She had a tie-breaking vote on that, which is the largest investment in renewable energy ever, and the $35 cap on insulin for those that are on Medicare. Okay, so
Okay,
this
and
idea
I
that,
agree with
that
those
she didn't do
two
anything.
things
Let me
as
ask you this
well.
question: name a single thing that a vice president has done as vice president in U.S. history.
Let me think real quick. No, I don't have anything off the top of my head. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, you could have said that J.D. Vance spent a lot of time on the couch and vacationing, but it is the case that you didn't know a single thing a vice president has done in U.S. history. So if that's true, then how could you evaluate what Kamala Harris did as vice president? You clearly don't know anything a single vice president has done throughout the entirety of U.S. history, so you obviously wouldn't know what she did as vice president, so you couldn't evaluate what she did or what any other vice president did.
I think her case is a little different, though. I think that she had to take a bigger step because it's a fact that with the cancer and everything, Biden's condition was worsening at a rapid pace, and it was time for her to step up and make the decisions, and she failed to do that.
When you say she failed to do that, what are you talking about? How did she fail to do that?
Did you see anything come out, any legislature come out with her name on it, or did she speak at all during that time? In between,
Yes,
whenever
I just gave you an example. Did you hear me at all? The Inflation Reduction Act was passed through a tie-breaking vote.
Just because she set a tie-breaking vote on a liberally created bill, like
What?
she's obviously going to vote in favor of the Democratic bill.
Well, I'm sorry. You understand that that's something that she did and that she influenced to get passed. She was literally influencing and advocating for people to pass a certain legislation. She got certain aspects of the put it in.
What certain aspects did she come up with on her own that got put into the bill, or did she just advocate for things that were created by others?
She was specifically advocating for the increase in the investment, specifically for especially in the infrastructure bill, the what's it called, broadband for rural communities. So it was expanding access to like Wi-Fi and broadband to rural communities.
They need food, not
that she
fucking
specifically
Wi-Fi.
advocated for. Oh, what's up?
They need food, not Wi-Fi.
Wait, so then why do you support Trump even though he cut 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every month and 2.5 million people off?
You want me to be honest with you?
Yeah, that's not increasing people's access to food.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying that he cut off in those third world countries and stuff? He cut off the infrastructure that we put up over there, right?
Dude, did you hear anything I just fucking said? What? Trump specifically engaged in policies that reduced people's access to food, reduced food stamps, and also reduced access to free school lunch and breakfast to the tunes of 2.5 million people for food stamps on average every month and 420,000 children off of their access to free school lunch and breakfast. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, specifically advocated for policies like the $6,000 for the first year of a child's life, $3,600 through them being 5 years old, $3,000 through them being 18 in terms of a child tax credit, which reduced childhood poverty by 45% when implemented through COVID emergency policy in 2021 through the American Rescue Plan. You got to come back into the app for me to be able to hear you. Astounding. Thank you so much for the $3. Thank you. Thank you so much. As well as Dakota. Thank you for the $5. Thank you so much, Dakota. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I think you muted me, or I muted myself on accident.
You swiped out of the app.
Oh, that usually doesn't mute me. That's weird. So, I'm guessing I'm trying to, I guess, address your claim that Kamala Harris was. You said she wanted to give Wi-Fi access to third world countries, correct?
No, that was here in the U.S. You dumbass.
Okay, I did not understand exactly what you were saying. So why are we subsidizing Wi-Fi access when we should be focusing on getting these people the education and capabilities that they need and to dig themselves out? Like, you teach the fisherman to fish, he feeds himself for life. You can't just give it to them like that.
Dude, when we're talking about providing access to food, yes, you do just give people access to food. That's how it works, right?
I understand. Initially, yes, you're right.
You understand? There's a safety. It's a safety net to ensure everyone has access to food. Okay.
Okay.
And also,
yes,
increasing
I
access to Wi-Fi increases access to education, which clearly MAGA needs. And it increases access to social mobility.
You can drive to McDonald's and get free Wi-Fi there. That problem's solved. Like
in rural communities. Yeah, they tell me they want to drive to like how far in order to be able to get to the right McDonald's, bro. Come on. I'm sorry, we're talking about rural communities getting broadband where they are. That increases social mobility. It increases access to education, right? Which clearly this country needs.
And what changes has that made? What changes has that made now? Do we see higher education? Do we see people getting out of poverty? Do we see people getting out of the social class that they've been stuck in?
Well, specifically those particular policies did lead to people having better conditions. Like, dude, you would be, if we were like in the fucking, right, in the 1900s, you would be the person advocating that like we shouldn't have expanded electricity access to rural communities. Why should I have to pay for them having electricity?
I'm confused. How?
Yeah, you would have advocated against having electricity in rural communities to a greater extent, imposed particularly through different governmental programs, which they were.
Am I against giving electricity to Americans? No.
To rural Americans, like historically.
No, I'm not against that.
That's the same policy you're essentially advocating for here in terms of specifically saying that, like, oh, what's the reason why we need to have access to internet, right, for specifically people in rural communities? Internet is similar in terms of its positive impact in terms of social mobility, right, and quality of life.
I do agree with you on that, but how does that affect, what are we seeing results-wise now?
Like, again, more people having access to those programs. And again, results right now, Trump is gutting these programs, right, specifically.
Okay.
In terms of results,
so what progress have we made?
I got you. What are you asking for, actually?
No, it's your claim that this is beneficial to our society. So what progress have we made since that legislation's been passed?
Like, what do you mean by progress? Do you want to know how many people specifically got access to, like, greater levels of high-speed broadband?
I want to see what it did. I want to see how many people got out of poverty. I want to see how many people, I guess, got out of their low class or their social class. They moved up. I want to see people moving up. I want to see those people getting out of the situation that they're in. Because that's the point of this whole thing, right?
Okay, so we would see those impacts within the society, but we'd have to be able to estimate those impacts. We obviously know that increasing access to the internet obviously increases people's access to social mobility, which is going to increase their standard of living and quality of life. So we know that it will make conditions better for people as a whole.
Okay, so I want to see what got produced out of that. What's the product of that we have in front of our eyes right now?
I don't think you are going to be able to get the information that you're looking for, because there's not a specific claim of this many people specifically were taken off of poverty because of the access to access to high-speed broadband, right? But it increases access to internet, which increases social mobility, which we know is positive for our economy as a whole, and important for people in rural areas, which is especially why we did something in the past, specifically like providing access to electricity to rural communities. You could have said the same thing. Like, if someone couldn't have had a specific study back then to specifically claim that, right? Then
you have to have electricity nowadays to live, basically, in America specifically.
Yeah, and it's important specifically to have access to the internet now in order to be able to get access to things now. So, what's your point?
You're right. It is important. It is important. I agree. However, it's not a necessity of life. The electricity was like an extreme. Like
having electricity is not a necessity.
I know. I just said not necessarily a necessity, but it creates the ability to live comfortably. Period.
Yeah, and same thing with internet.
Electricity.
Same thing with the internet.
It does not make as big of a difference. No.
I think it makes an incredibly important difference, and also I think this is a good thing. Do you disagree with this?
Wi-Fi makes just as big as a difference as electricity itself.
I said it doesn't make the same difference, but I do think it makes an important difference. Enough of a difference for me to say that it's good to pass, right?
Yes, I do. I agree.
Okay, so then what are you disputing here?
I'm disputing the fact that we are giving we're subsidizing communities instead of giving them the tools that they need to get the hell out of the situations that they're in. or not communities, but social classes.
What you're not understanding is this increases social mobility, so it is giving people the ability to do that. This isn't providing everything for people. This is providing the ability for people to have greater levels of social mobility. The internet is a tool. It doesn't hand everything to you. It's something that you can use to make your life better. And you're actually advocating against increasing people's abilities to get things that they could use to benefit their life in that manner.
So you think internet will directly change the dynamic of the low class social class?
I think it absolutely benefits our country.
So do you think that all lower class neighborhoods and lower class areas and lower class counties and stuff like that, that typically income stays around the same? And
I believe in universal internet access. I think that we should have internet access funded across the entire United States. I actually fucking hate ISPs in general. I think that we need better infrastructure for internet and stuff in general. So I think right now we don't have good infrastructure for internet, and we need to have more government involvement in ensuring that people have adequate access to internet, and they don't get ripped off by fucking shitty ISPs.
I think that Starlink is the future. I think that may affect that, and I'm hoping that. I don't necessarily think it should be. I don't know. We definitely have the ability to once the Starlink satellites become readily available, and I understand that you can still get very high speed internet from Starlink, but once there's a crazy amount of satellites in the air that are self-maintain or not self-maintaining but easily maintainable, and the cost of maintenance goes down, I think that eventually you're right that will just come with time. I think that's something that will come with time, for sure.
Okay, so in general, again, this is another example of how Trump is not better for this set of circumstances. So why do you want Trump?
I think that's something that comes with time, regardless of who you vote into office. That's not an aspect of it.
So then, why do you want Trump? What's so good about Trump here, man? Because it seems to me you're starting to agree with me more.
Oh yeah, I told you probably 25 minutes ago that I agree more with you on a lot of subjects than I do with Trump. However, I do think that he at the time was a greater candidate than Kamala or Harris, and I believe if you look back, I remember in November-ish, December-ish, I was starting to kind of get my regrets and stuff like that, but I remember very early election cycle of 2024, Harris was very absent in going to press conferences, media coverage, statements, taking. I think she kind of expected to inherit the popularity of Biden.
She had 107 days. Okay, she went on a bunch of media tours. She went all around the country, did a bunch of different things. She was constantly working. Okay, the idea that she didn't do enough, I think, is very ridiculous. I mean, there are a few things I could point to, maybe it would have been good if she was on Joe Rogan. She could have convinced Joe Rogan or something like that with Theo Vaughn, things like that. But in reality, right, saying that she didn't do enough, that they didn't saying she didn't do enough, I think is more ridiculous. Actually, I think that really the ownership for specifically doing more work, I think definitely is more to be put specifically on the voter base. Because the voter base, if they did 1 ounce of critical thinking, would have voted for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. Literally, the main reason in exit polling, specifically for why people voted for Donald Trump, was because they attributed inflation to the incumbent president, right, the Biden-Harris administration, which they had no evidence to indicate that it was caused by the Biden-Harris administration. And Trump's policy ran on increasing prices through the context of tariffs.
So if I'm going to be honest with you, at the time, if I'm just going to give you the reason why I voted for him, it's going to be because at the time I was in military training. I didn't have I did it for about a year and a half. I had training and stuff, and so when it came election time, it was my first time kind of getting into politics and stuff like that. And I took a quiz online. I made sure that it wasn't
your audio just got really bad.
Sorry. I took a quiz online, and basically it said that I aligned 61 or 63% with Trump, and that's literally the only reason I voted for him. I know, but that's pretty much that's how I know I agree with more of his policies, because it showed me which policies I agree with his and which ones I disagreed with of Kamala, of Harris.
I'm gonna go to the next person. I hope you change your mind, man. I hope you change your mind. Let's go to the next person, everybody. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Linktree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat, as well as the pinned comment on YouTube. What's up, how old are you? You're disgusting. Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Xavier, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you so much, Xavier. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Erotica, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yes. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hello. Debate my friend Jessica.
Debate me. You scared, Parker. You're running.
Josh, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I think it's so important. I think there needs to be a broader access to it. Alexander, thank you so much for the $50. Thank you so much, Alexander. I really appreciate the $50. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Give me some W's for Alexander in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. W's for Alexander in the comment section right now. Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Maddie, thank you so much for the 5 membership subscriptions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen.
Parker, you're scared to debate me. Debate me, Parker.
She's so obsessed. It's unbelievable. Dude, I know you're a troll. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I know you're
Debate me, baby.
That was 3 separate accounts, chat. 3 separate accounts that they were on in my guest box. 3 separate accounts. Yo, what's up? How old are you? So the next person, only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, everybody. Let's try to get to 3,000 likes, everyone. Yo, what's up? How old are you? We're at 1,100 likes, everyone. Let's try to get to 2,000 real quick, and then we'll try to get to 3,000 later on here in the stream. We're almost like 2 hours into the stream. We still have like, I think it's like, I want to say like 2.5 hours. 2 hours.
Hello.
into the stream. Do you support Donald Trump?
Yes,
How
sir,
old are
I
you?
do. I'm 21. I was born in 2002 on November.
2002
12.
and you're 21?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? How old are you? How old are you? Okay, let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, everybody, as always. Joe, thank you for the $10 on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much, Joe. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Yura, thank you for the $40 on Venmo. Can we get some W's for Yura in the comment section right now for the $40 on Venmo? Thank you so much, Yura. I really appreciate it. Thank you. W's for Yura in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 19.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, I do.
What's your birth year?
November 7th, 2005.
Okay. If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
Okay, why so?
Because I invested into his meme coin when he, you know what I mean, his meme coin, and then it made me a lot of money. So that's why I like him.
He rug pulled it, so you definitely lost your money.
No, I made money, like I did. I was in an inside group, you know.
They're trolling. Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 18.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yes, I do.
If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump, obviously.
Okay, what's your birth year?
2007,
What month?
April 3rd, if you want to know the date.
Okay. What state do you live in?
I live in California.
Can you name 3 cities in California?
Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, Glendale, West Hollywood.
It's the same group, same group. It's literally like, why do they join in on a million accounts? I just don't get it. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hi, Parker. I'm
Tina,
definitely
thank
not
you.
a Trump supporter. Just really want to say hi, and you're doing great.
I appreciate you so very much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Put some W's for them in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hi.
How old are you?
I'm 17. It's Jessica the baby.
Hey, genuinely, stop. Please get out of my life. Like, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. Like, I'm serious. Please leave me alone. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I am 28.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I do.
Okay, if you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who'd you rather vote for?
I would vote for President Donald Trump.
Okay, why so?
Let's just take a walk back down memory lane. Let's start off with Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden. So, if we can, let's talk about the cognitive decline of Joe Biden and why Vice President Kamala Harris did not come forward with that information. I'll just say Harris. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Why she didn't speak out about that?
Yeah, so like genuinely I don't see there to be like a necessity for her to do so. I don't see there to be a need, and even if you do say that she was like quote unquote lying, that's not like a comparable lie to all the ones that Donald Trump engages in. Also, like, it would make sense specifically for her to acknowledge that yes, he can do the job, right? She doesn't have to acknowledge that yes, he's become older, right, and he's not like in the same cognitive abilities as he was. I'm pretty sure she did acknowledge that he was older, right? Like, I mean, Joe Biden himself acknowledged that.
Okay, so my question is, right before the debate with President Trump and former President Joe Biden, it was mentioned, how is former President Joe Biden? People were asking that question. How's everything going? Is he good? They were told everything's fine, everything's good, nothing to worry about. The debate happened. Even the Democrats brought it up after that, knowing that something was wrong with former President Joe Biden.
I mean, I was advocating for him to drop out. I'm not disputing that, but the point I'm
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Vice President Kamala Harris. Why wasn't it this? Well, I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Vice President Harris.
Yeah, I understand. And the point
Isn't that something that the people should know?
Sure, you could say it is, but that doesn't mean that like that's comparable to what we see on behalf of Trump. Do you want me to give you multiple examples of Trump blatantly lying that is significantly more harmful than her just omitting the fact that Biden, right, has cognitive decline?
Okay, well, she didn't admit it until afterwards, bringing it up.
Like omit.
Oh, my apologies. Okay, all right, well, I see what you're saying. All right, so another thing too is something that's really important to me that President Trump take care of is the immigration. Now, I'm just going to say this. I am for people who have committed a crime that they shouldn't be here, but I physically, in my heart, can't be mad at anyone wanting a better life for them and their family. Okay? So that right there that's where I'm mixed with President Trump on that, because I can't find it in my heart to be mad at anyone that wants a better life for their family. But the thing that really caught my attention is when Vice President Harris was, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm just gonna say that, Vice President Harris, when she was asked about the border, she said she went down to the border knowing that she didn't. So why lie about that?
She did go down to the border on multiple.
She didn't go down to the border until afterwards.
If you're talking about this particular interview, she didn't say in that interview that she had gone to the border.
She said she'd been to the border.
If you're talking about this specific interview that we're talking about, this is prior to her being in office. as vice
No,
president. Like very early on, she went to the border.
listen to what I'm saying. She said that she went down to the border because listen.
Okay. In the meantime, by the way, I can't hear you when you swipe out of the app. Just letting you know.
Give me
Jay,
one
thank you for
second.
the $10. Don't worry, Jay. Thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. As well as Rohit, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $8. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Do give it a second, everybody. Do give it a second. If you're on YouTube, always hit the thumbs up if you can. I think you have to close out the chat sometimes. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. It will help get it out to more people, everybody. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone here on TikTok doing so. Do give it a second, everybody. Alrighty. In the meantime, I might actually like bring someone up to help out. We can have a 2v1. Alrighty. Najia, thank you for the $5. Thank you. No, I didn't see that. I'd love to see that. Maddie, thank you for the 5 membership subscriptions. And then Charles, thank you for the $5. Thank you. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I voted for him.
If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
Neither of them. They're both
Okay.
Jew lovers.
That's a crazy thing to fucking say. That's just anti-Semitism. Erotica, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $5. Thank you on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you. Thank you so much. No, seriously. Brian, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It can only good happen. It can only good happen. Yes, you know Trump was very much on it, medically speaking. There.
Hey, listen. There's going to be differences, but what I'm trying to say is, Vice President Kamala Harris was tasked by former President Joe Biden at the time, or former President Joe Biden now, whatever. But she was tasked to go down to the border and figure out the issues. Correct?
She was tasked with specifically going to Central American countries to reduce the likelihood of people coming here by raising up private funds to build up their economic security, which she did. She raised over $5 billion in private funds.
But what I'm trying to say is, did she or did she not go to the border?
She did.
She went to the south border before it was previously brought up that she didn't.
Okay. Regardless of whether or not she went to the border, what's the point of this? Like, say she didn't go to the border.
Well, what I'm trying to say is what I'm trying to say is there's thousands of kids that come through the border that end up missing. They be sex trafficking and whatnot. So why lie about something to the people? Why lie about something like that when that's very important?
Yeah. So, wait, lie about what? Are you talking about the cognitive decline or go back? Sorry.
No, I'm talking about the border. We already skipped across the cognitive decline.
What was the lie at the border?
She lied and said she went down to the border when she in fact
she didn't. Okay, can you give me like a specific article that says that she lied about that? Because I don't see any evidence
simply
that
look
she
it
lied
up.
about that. She didn't claim.
She went after she was pressured.
So in order for it to be a lie, it has to be prior to the point in which she went. So I would have to have a specific interview that you're referencing.
We'll look up the specific interview, and I will put it here in the chat.
Well, I won't be able to click on it. You could just tell me like the title, and I can look it up though. Moose, thank you for the membership subscription. Thank you so much. Ryan, thank you for the £2. Thank you. As well as Kelly, thank you for the membership subscription. Thank you. And Wig, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Nancy, thank you for the $7.77. Thank you. Alrighty. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 47.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I do.
Okay. Well, if you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
Oh, Donald Trump for sure.
Okay, why so?
I would say I'm definitely lean more libertarian. So socially, I probably drift more on the liberal side, but from pretty much, especially, and honestly, both parties are guilty of this, but fiscally more conservative. And I think the Republicans' approach, and it's not universal because there's some bad ones out there, their approach is less government intrusion in our lives, the better. I have many different avenues I could explain, detail, whatever situation you want. You want to talk about the border, you want to talk about taxes, you want to talk about small business.
Victoria, thank you. Yeah, the border, there's actually more restrictions being put in place specifically by the Trump administration because he wants to restrict flow through the context of the border, which would be a limitation on the free market.
Right. Okay. So yeah, because you're talking about workers that come and do like fruit and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I have, and I don't want to get too specific because it's a public forum, but I've seen firsthand knowledge of what happens with this immigration policy, and it affects the whole situation way worse than people even realize. The people get the whole thing. The whole reason that he did that, we'll say that whole administration was just to try to increase their base. I mean, if you look at that part, let's take the Democratic Party as a whole. If you look at, I would probably caucus more with a 60s Kennedy Democrat Party versus today. They went completely off the rails.
So what do you disagree with in terms of the Democratic Party today?
Democratic Party? Well, I'll tell you what, you pick. You tell me what specific vein, because there's a lot.
What do you specifically disagree with in terms of the Democratic Party today?
Well, first, they've become a very pro-war party. I mean, if you look at, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, it was, everything was peace. Let's see, government, let's intervention. Try to intervene in Ukraine.
Give me an example. Ukraine? Trump wants to intervene in Ukraine.
Okay. So he wants to intervene in Ukraine, but let's take an example of, let's say, Hillary Clinton. So if you look at the 60s and 70s Democrats, it was all about free expression, free speech, and then now that party, that's a perfect example.
No, I asked for specific examples of pro-war in terms of the modern Democratic Party, and then in terms of this, we could also acknowledge the Department of War. Trump quite literally changed the name of the Department of Defense to reflect the fact that they're going to be taking the offensive to a greater extent.
Right. Do you understand why that is, though? I know exactly why it is, because I have friends that are in the military. So the whole premise with the Department of Defense, I get that, because you don't want to seem like you're becoming overly aggressive and pursue any sort of get into a conflict for just no reason. We can look at pretty much every conflict we've gotten into over the last 50 years has been completely BS. We all know that. So but
Trump
if you
is
ever
putting us
have
into more conflict, that's what I would say.
I don't think so. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
trade
wars. He's put us in more trade wars.
Okay,
he's bombed Iran. He's specifically literally bombed and extrajudicially killed multiple boats of people.
I don't agree. Well, okay, so you said you're getting us in trade war versus military war. So which one are you picking? So let's take military. Military, I don't know. I don't see that at all. So, okay, so let's, the Venezuelan, I do not agree with that. So I take more of a Rand Paul approach to that. There's no way we should be doing that without, going through the appropriate channels. To me, that's just extrajudicial killing just because for fun. Not for fun, but for a reason. And Obama did the same thing. They did the same thing with the drones. And every president takes that. I think those powers should be reserved for Congress. You should be going to war for the absolute. That should be your last approach.
So again, can you give me an example how, say, for example, Kamala Harris is more pro-war than Donald Trump?
More pro-war. Sending money without any oversight to Ukraine. Let's just take the whole Democratic Party.
There's oversight. It was through Congress, and Trump is sending money to Ukraine.
Okay, so what oversight? So I can tell you personally, I know 3 people that are from Ukraine, okay, they're now in the United States, and that we are funding their retirement benefits paid through the Ukrainian government, and they're getting over $6,000 a month, and we pay for that. So how is that fair?
What is the retirement benefit for? Working?
working for literally 2 months. It's a
And by the
grift.
way, we pay for defense and we pay for the weapons. We're not paying like salaries. Would you like to provide me any evidence that we're
No,
paying
no.
salaries?
So over there, so we are subsidizing part of their pension system. That's been
Can we
proven.
have a source?
I could give you a source, but
Go ahead.
I let me look one up.
Go ahead. If you're on YouTube, everybody, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen to help get out to more people. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat and the pinned comment on the YouTube. Danielle, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. Trace, did you find your source?
Oh yeah. I was just waiting until you guys were done. I didn't want to interrupt while you guys were talking. Okay, so I might have spoke out, but it was in 2021 when she did the interview, April 2021 on NBC. She said that she went down to the border and she was tasked to do figure out the issues, and nothing was really figured out really. And then in 2024, she said that she went to the border multiple times when in fact she didn't. And
what date did you say this?
It was the month of April in 2024 on NBC News. And the thing that here
April
is
2021.
No. April 2021 is when she did it, and then April 2024.
What did she say specifically?
April 2024 says she went down to the border multiple times.
Wait, again, what did she say? What was her quote?
Let me get the exact quote.
Because I'm pretty sure in that interview she said that she had not been, and I think that like some people brought this up and quoted that she said like that she's never been to some places in Europe.
No, it says she said that she'd been down to the U.S.-Mexican border multiple times.
In her life, or like as vice president?
As vice president.
Okay, wait. So then I would gotta hear what's the title for this? So I'll look it up right now. Okay.
Andrea Mitchell is who she did it with.
What's the title? Okay. If you're on YouTube again, hit that thumbs up, everybody. We might, in the meantime, get another third person up here to help them out, to give us a little bit more time. In between. But again, if you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, everybody. Alrighty. By the way, thank you for the Dragon Crown. Thank you. We should be on for another, like, what, hour and 15 minutes at least? Maybe for a little bit longer than that. Alrighty. Did you find your source, David? Oh. Okay. All right. I think we'll add up a third person here real quick. Do give us a second, everyone. We're gonna add up a third person real quick. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Disgusting. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
If you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen.
By the way, everyone, I was just gonna say this. If you want to like make edits, like TikTok edits of my streams, if I see some edits, like especially on my For You page that I like and whatnot, I might be hiring people to make some clips and stuff for TikTok. I was thinking of doing that, of hiring another person to help with clips, if I like someone's like editing style. So if you want to post stuff like that and edit and at me in it, if I see it, I might try to DM people. If you want to start posting clips, you have my consent to post clips of me. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
29.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, I think he's getting rid of the woke.
Okay. If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
I'm kind of in between.
Who would you rather vote for? Like, would you not vote?
I mean, I think it's important to vote. I'm sorry, man. I was just messing with you. I voted for Kamala.
Okay. David, did you find your source or?
Yeah, I already said it.
What was it,
Yeah,
David?
I found it.
I can't hear you when you're out of the app. Just letting you know, David. You got to remember when you come back.
Hey, you got to remember, I'm a Gen Xer, so some of this stuff still catching
You're
up.
fine. Don't worry.
CBS, it's the August 24th, 2023 article.
And what was the title? That's what I would need.
All right, stand by.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, so I can't find the exact video, but it was 100%. I know for a fact it was mentioned when she did an interview on NBC News. I just can't find the exact one. But what I'm trying to get at is, it was talked about time after time that she'd been down to the border, right, with the crossings and whatnot. And now that it's with Trump in office, we have hit a record low of crossings.
I don't think that's a good thing. I think that we need more immigration. I think immigration is really good for our economy, good for tax revenues. It's good for allowing us to maintain the same levels of Medicare and Social Security. I think that the population is going to be declining by 2050, according to the Congressional Budget Office estimates, which is obviously going to be bad for the growth of our economy. Right?
Yeah,
Especially
but I got
we're
a
going to have
question.
less young people specifically to be able to pay for older people who are on those social services for a longer period of time because of increasing life expectancy due to technological advancement.
I get that point. But what about all of the thousands of kids that are missing? That was missing.
The idea of them being quote unquote missing is a bit of like a misnomer because it was specifically that they didn't specifically go to a particular court date, and them not going to a court date could be a multiple different set of explanations. It's more like not necessarily a court date. It's more like a missing paperwork sort of thing, right? Like some people had not gone specifically to the court date. Others specifically, it was just missing paperwork, particularly on like them, like after the fact of their court date, specifically like also like continuing to like engage with the system.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but Bordazar Tom Homan. I get what you're saying, but Bordazar Tom Homan talked about this time after time about missing kids, being sex trafficked. They don't know exactly where these kids are at. They're doing everything they can to find these kids. They come up and they found some missing kids, but they haven't found all because there's thousands upon thousands. But it's just like these kids started missing. They're being sex trafficked. They're doing all of this sex labor and whatnot. Like,
so yeah.
My thing is,
what specifically
why
are they doing to address
something?
this?
Say it again.
Well, what are they doing to address that?
Didn't I just bring up that they have less crossings now, a lot less than the Biden and Harris administration?
Less crossings doesn't change the amount of missing kids there are.
But it's not going to add more to that, is what I'm saying.
I wouldn't say that specifically having higher levels of immigration processes leads to more missing children, proportionally, especially.
Wouldn't you agree if this was to kept going on with the Biden and Harris administration with just open borders, that there would have been more missing children?
Oh, we didn't have open borders. And if you said that we had open borders under the Biden-Harris administration, well, then you would claim at the end of Trump's first admin there was open borders, so Biden inherited an open border.
Well, not as secured borders, I'll say.
Yeah, so it wasn't secure under the end of Trump's first term because there were higher average border crossings on a daily basis comparative to the end of Biden's first term?
I'm talking about Biden administration compared to Trump now. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I understand. But I'm making a comparison specifically at the end of the Biden administration versus the end of the Trump administration because that was what the border Biden took over. So if you're saying that specifically, or there were too many crossings throughout the entirety of the Biden-Harris administration, well, then it would be true that there were too many crossings at the very end. And if there were more crossings at the end on a daily average under the Biden-Harris administration, or less crossings as a daily average at the end of the Biden-Harris administration compared with the end of the Trump administration, well, then that would mean that the border that Biden inherited was there were less crossings. More crossings on a daily average than the border that he handed over to Trump. Does it make sense?
I get what you're saying, but Trump has been in office how long?
He's been in office for almost 9 months.
So it took President Trump 9 months to get lower border crossings, which you and I can both say that means less added to the number of the Harrison Biden administration crossings, right?
I think less border crossings is a bad thing. But
what I'm trying to say is if we would have continued with the Biden and Harris administration, unsecured borders, that there would have been more, I'm going to say...
How do you identify a secure border? Like, how do you know when it's secure?
When we have less crossings.
But less in comparison to what?
What we dealt with previously. I mean, listen, Trump has been in office 9 months, and now we have...
Technically, at the end of the Biden-Harris administration, we were less than what we were at the end of Trump's term. Therefore, it was less. Therefore, it was secure. So Trump inherited a secure border already.
Can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
How could you honestly believe that the Biden
wait, David,
immigration?
Hold on. David, let Trace finish real quick, and then I'll let you answer your question.
Sorry, brother. I was trying to help you.
I'll acknowledge 100% when I'm wrong, but you and I both know now that numbers are low, that it would not add to the numbers compared to the Biden-Harris administration, correct? With the thousands of children that have been missing. What I'm trying to say is, if we would have continued with the Biden and Harris administration unsecured borders, you and I both know that the numbers would have kept going up, correct?
Okay, so
no. Listen, I'm looking for a yes or no.
The number of people that we didn't have documentations for specifically would go down because there would be an incentive for people to go through said legal process. If you're talking about people where you don't have documentation specifically, there's just a missing paperwork. That's not necessarily that they're missing, that they're being sex trafficked or anything like that is happening. If there were more people coming to the country, would there be more people coming to the country? Yes, but there's not an issue with more people coming to the country.
But there's an issue with the kids being sex trafficked.
Yes, and what is the Trump administration doing to address sex trafficking? Did
you not just see they put out that President Trump has the lowest crossings?
No, it's not based on crossings. I'm saying level of sex trafficking. Do you have any evidence that there's a lower rate of sex trafficking within our country?
I mean, I got evidence that they're at least targeting it. You can go look up any video of Tom Homan. He's talking about it time after time.
Yeah, so just because they talk about it doesn't mean that they're actually doing something to address it. And I would say there's a few issues
that could... Wait, hold on. I get what you just said, but you just said that they're talking about it. President Trump talked about that they're going to secure the borders when, in fact, they did secure the borders, and now their numbers are down. So they can talk about it, but they're actually getting it done.
I'm talking about specifically the level of sex trafficking. Whether or not there's a quote-unquote secure border under your prescription doesn't change the level of quote-unquote sex trafficking, because that would be illegal, right? And it is the case that specifically would be through the context of a system that, especially in terms of, for example, drug trafficking, right? Most of that goes through the context of U.S. citizens. So you actually don't have much evidence that indicates that specifically people coming through the immigration process would cause that to happen to a greater extent, because people who are specifically doing that can go through said legal processes as well.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right, what I'm trying to say is look at Biden and Harris administration, look at Trump administration. More people crossing during the Biden and Harris administration, more kids missing. I'm just going to say missing because no one knows exactly where they're at, what's 100% going on until...
No, it just means there's missing paperwork. So I think it's disingenuous when you say that, because it's missing paperwork.
But there's no trace.
So when you say they're missing is different from missing paperwork. You have to give it.
I didn't say no missing paperwork.
No, missing paperwork is what it is. All it is missing paperwork.
Okay, all right. So we'll just leave this alone because it seems like that questions I keep asked, they keep getting skipped around. Okay,
I'm not trying to skip around. Can you ask the question again? I'm trying to answer.
It's okay. All right, we'll talk about this. Okay, Vice President Harris, she advocated for the LGBT community, correct?
Absolutely.
And she stood on that. I mean, she spoke out about it time after time, right?
I don't think she spoke out enough about trans people, but she did speak up about the fact that she like supports people who are part of the LGBT
Okay, then answer this question for me. Harris said that Pete Buttigieg would have been her first choice to be her running mate, but she didn't choose him specifically because he was gay. Why is that?
It's not because she's against him for being gay. It's because she thinks that society as a whole, specifically, right, given that she's a black woman and she's married to a Jewish man, right, specifically, and there being a gay man on the ticket would specifically be quote unquote asking too much from the population. Now we can say whether or not we agree or disagree with that point, but the reality of the matter is not she's not doing that because she doesn't want someone who's gay to be in a position of power. She's doing that because she is trying to realistically see, like, okay, there's a lot of bigots within our society, right, and they're already coming after me specifically for all these particular traits, right? So they're going to come after us to even a greater extent, specifically if it is the case that specifically there would be a person of another marginalized identity on the ticket.
But shouldn't you just be who you are and let people know who you really are?
I mean, you could say that, but that doesn't change the reality that this isn't like a homophobic position of hers or anything like that.
But my thing is, if you know that somebody's better, and you said
she's like not in support of the LGBTQ plus community.
But what I'm saying is, she personally said that Pete Buttigieg would be her first choice, which means he was good for her. But she didn't choose him because she was gay. How are you going to come out? You're going to advocate for something.
Why are you
listen,
being
I'm not.
After
Listen,
I just explained it, that's not the reason.
But that was her reasoning.
You're misunderstanding her reasoning. I just explained it. What was my explanation?
I can't repeat everything that you said, but what I'm basically trying to say is,
I'm not said, like the general idea.
I'm not against the LGBT community because my sister's a part of it. But what I'm trying to say is, how can you say that that he was your first choice, which means she would have chosen him because he was better than everyone else she felt, and now you come out and just tell the people that you didn't choose him because he was gay? I just don't get that.
So you didn't listen to anything that I said. I explained, and then you just repeated the same point.
All right, go ahead again.
Yeah, so again, she felt like specifically because it was the case that she's a black woman, she's married to a Jewish husband, and it is the case that specifically Pete would be of another marginalized identity, right? It is the case that specifically she felt like it was asking too much for America, when it is the case that America already is not accepting enough. So it's not because she specifically views that particularly about people who are gay. She just acknowledges specifically that there's a lot of bigots, particularly within society, that will attack them because of their marginalized identities.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I just personally don't. It's not that I don't get it. I just don't find that it's fair to him that she didn't accept him as her first choice when she could have. It would have been fine, because people shouldn't look at, oh, he's gay. People should just look at him for what he stood for.
Yeah, she would agree. She would agree. People shouldn't view it that way, but she's acknowledging the reality that people do, and saying that in the world that people do specifically, right, is the case that she's going to try to do things that are inevitably try to get her elected to a greater extent. Now, we could disagree with specifically the route that she did so, but we can't act like this is like her not supporting the LGBTQ plus community. That's a ridiculous assertion to take from that.
Well, my thing is, you just tell them to go out there and be who you are, and then, people find acceptance. But I felt like when she did that to Pete Buttigieg, that there wasn't no acceptance because of
that was
him
not
being
her
gay.
not accepting. That's ridiculous for you to say that. That's her
But I'm
acknowledging
saying,
that the society that we live in is less accepting.
No. But listen, in order to accept anybody, right, you shouldn't fear that you wouldn't be accepted. You should just go and be who you are. Correct?
She's not disputing that, right? But she's
But she was
acknowledging that
fearing
from an
acceptance for no
electoral
reason.
standpoint. She's acknowledging from an electoral standpoint about the likelihood of electability, right, with certain tickets.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, she shouldn't fear acceptance from people if he was just being who he was. She was fearful because she was a black woman and that he was gay, that there wouldn't have been much of an acceptance, correct?
Amongst society, that people in society wouldn't have accepted the ticket to the same degree or voted for the ticket to the same degree. And you can disagree with it, but it's not a bigoted opinion of hers.
Okay.
Right? Like, okay, like, do you want to tell me why you support Donald Trump over Kamala Harris? Because it can't be because Kamala Harris is a bigot. Because we know that Donald Trump literally is a bigot, and I can give you explicit examples as to why. Right?
No, I'm not trying to dispute that. Another thing too is like she was wanting to ban assault rifles or assault weapons also.
She didn't run on that for this campaign. That was like 2020, and specifically, given that she did that, who cares? That's not a big issue.
To me, I care. I mean, I love my firearms.
I mean, do you have
what's an assault?
What's
an assault weapon?
That would be defined specifically by their own definition. People have differing definitions on the matter. I don't have a prescribed definition I typically use. I'm not some big knowledgeable individual about guns, right? Or specifically how to classify differences in like assault weapons versus other types of weapons. But I can acknowledge that we don't specifically need things like AR-15s in order to defend ourselves. And from my position, I believe in a right to self-defense. I just don't think it's necessary to have certain guns in order to defend yourself. So I believe in common sense, like gun control legislation.
Wait, David, Parker, one question. All right, I see exactly what you're saying, right? But wouldn't you say that a handgun can do just about the same things that an AR-15 could do, other than like what's the difference then?
Magazine size, stability.
You can get extended clips with handguns.
Yep, he's right.
You can get extended clips with handguns.
I would argue for those specifically to be restricted.
Okay, so just because the gun looks scarier doesn't mean it makes it any more or less.
It's not because it looks scarier. I gave multiple examples specifically.
Okay, so all right, so
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. All right, so the whole assault weapon thing, you can use an example. So that's a semi-automatic. So let's just get terms right here. There is automatic weapons are illegal. Mm-hmm. We cannot own any automatic rifles or assault weapons or assault weapons.
And you agree they should be illegal, right?
No, I don't. I think I actually advocate for, in some regards, less gun control. I think right now it's yeah. There's no.
Do you think I should be able to open carry a minigun?
Well, if you want, well, okay, or you can try. Good luck. I don't know how you're going to carry down the street.
So I should legally be able to open carry a minigun and an RPG.
Well, RPG you can't buy. That's classified. That's a banned weapon.
No, I'm asking. Like,
it is.
Do you think it should be banned?
What's that?
Do you think RPGs should be banned?
They already are banned.
No, do you think they should?
I said certain. Okay, I said certain things.
Do you think they should be banned?
What's the RPG?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no reason for
RPGs to be banned. That sounds like a violation of the Second Amendment.
Okay, so all right, so let's go back. All right, I understand what you're saying, but that's a grenade. That's not a gun. So there's a difference there.
Rocket propelled grenade launcher. So like you understand that like,
a rocket and a rocket and a gun are different.
It's an arm.
Okay, well
you have the right to bear
arms too.
Arms include like RPGs. And minigun. So I should be able to open carry a minigun down the street.
You're also using your arm to scratch your head. So an arm has multiple meanings.
We're obviously in this context, it's talking about like arms in relation to weapons, man.
Okay, so let's back up. So the difference is, so when we're talking about guns, and you're saying assault weapons, there is not much difference between a .22 long rifle, which is semi-automatic, holds 17 shots, and we've all used to hunt squirrels for the last 60 years. And your apparent AR-15 or assault rifle. There's very little difference in the two of those. Very little difference
between it.
So the only functional difference between, let's say, a .22 long rifle, and your AR-15 is one looks scarier, has black furniture, has a slightly larger projectile, and I'm talking infinitesimal amount of difference. You're going from a 55 grain to a 40 grain. Very little difference. So it comes down to if number one, there is background checks, and there already is gun regulations, and all that stuff's already in place.
Well, there's not universal background checks. There are loopholes to get around the background checks, especially with private gun shows.
Such as what? Give me an
private
example.
Gun shows.
Okay, so have you ever purchased a gun?
No, I don't have to have purchased a gun in order to know that that's specifically.
Okay, so all right, so then how can you speak on what? How do you know what the process is?
It's reported on.
Okay, you can report on it. So you're telling me that everything that you believe everything you read?
No, I'm just saying that there are articles specifically indicated by professionals on the matter.
Okay, so
so like I'm getting articles from like NPR, PBS, Reuters, AP News, and apparently you think that's not reliable information. I mean, you can just say whatever you want, but that's reliable info.
But there's okay. So let's not go to articles. Let's go to the law. To buy a weapon, buy a gun. 1 second, let me finish. But to buy a firearm from a private individual, you still have to go through a check. You still have to go.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
I'm in Texas. No, you don't.
You do. Oh, okay. So if you go to a gun show and you still have to fill out a form.
No, not if it's from an individual seller. If it is from an FFL dealer, yes. But if it is from a privatized dealer, absolutely not.
Okay.
So therefore that means that universal background checks are not in place.
Okay.
Next.
So let's go back to the assault weapons ban. So how does this whole how does the assault weapon what's other than it looks scarier, how is the assault weapon just absolutely bringing down the world here?
Right.
So what would your assault weapon ban do? So tell me.
What do you know what a ban is?
Please don't be condescending.
I'm not. I'm genuinely asking. Most people don't.
You give me your definition.
It's not my definition. It's the definition. It is a pipeline freeze. It halts production.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So right there, right? It halts production, and that means that less and less end up on the streets. And we know that the majority of mass school shootings happen with assault rifles. And I know I came in on the point where you were quizzing Parker on this and everything, but I'll give it to you straight from the bills that are in circulation, right? The term semi-automatic assault weapons means any of the following, regardless of the country or manufacturer or caliber of ammunition accepted. A semi-automatic rifle that has the capacity to accept a detachable ammunition feeding device and has any one of the following: a pistol grip, a forward grip, a folding, telescoping, or detachable stock, or a stock that is otherwise foldable or adjustable in a manner that operates to reduce the length, size, or any other dimension, or otherwise enhances the concealability of the weapon. A grenade launcher, a barrel shroud, a threaded barrel is a semi-automatic rifle that has a fixed ammunition feeding device with the capacity to accept more than 15 rounds, except for an attached tubular device designed to accept and capable of operating only with 22 caliber rimfire ammunition. Any part, combination of parts, components, device, attachment, or accessory that is designed or functions to accelerate the rate of fire of a semi-automatic firearm, but not convert the semi-automatic firearm into a machine gun.
Okay, so now so if your assault weapon ban, okay, and you're the most, criminals, just so you know, I don't know if you know this, and maybe you don't, but most criminals don't go through background checks. You know that, right?
Right. Criminals don't obey laws, right?
Yeah. Correct. So how?
So we shouldn't have any laws because criminals don't obey them. We shouldn't have any.
We're not saying that they are.
Wait. So should we have laws then?
We do have laws.
Right. So should we? If criminals don't obey laws, only law-abiding citizens obey laws. Should we not have laws then?
That's not what I said. How is your assault weapon ban going to affect criminals that don't give two shits about any of those policies? How is it going to affect them when they buy a gun off the street? It's not.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. So do you know what supply and demand is?
Listen, stop being condescending. I have 163 IQ. Please don't. Okay?
Cool.
Right.
Anybody that has to
Okay.
say their IQ amount obviously is lying, but okay. Furthermore, I only
Send me
say
your
that.
email. I'll send it to you.
I only say that because the vast amount of people are not educated. We have an education problem in this fucking country, if you haven't noticed. So I'm just asking. These are simple. I'm not being condescending. I talk to people like Parker. Parker goes through fucking hundreds of people a night. The vast majority do not know simple things. So I was just asking a simple question.
All right.
So
maybe it's your tone. Maybe I'm a little sensitive to your tone because it sounds a bit gruff. That's all. But it's fine. I'm a big boy. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm glad that we established that. Okay, so
Establish that you're a big boy or you have a tone. Which one?
Both. So
you are a big boy. That's not, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a big hug. Okay, here you go. Here's a hug from me to you. There you go.
Awesome.
Look at all the love in the air, huh?
Parker, it gets real weird real fast sometimes.
I know.
There's no weird about. Hey! Aren't you guys the party of being accepting? How is this weird? Don't you accept me showing?
I'm a stranger.
Hey, do you mean I can't show goodwill to my fellow man? What's wrong with that?
This is
why do you have to take it? Why do you have to take it so weird?
I'm going to talk on this because I came up here to talk on the firearms and everything.
Okay,
but
go ahead.
Randomly hugging strangers is weird.
Okay, it's a digital.
No matter what.
Okay. All I said is it's called being.
It was the context of the
okay.
conversation. It was the context. Of
it's
the
called
being.
It's called having a.
Here, let me bring us back to the point we were making. Essentially, the point is that the entirety of the supply of illegal firearms comes from the supply of legal firearms in the very first place. Right, in most circumstances. So if you reduce the supply of legal firearms, it reduces the supply of illegal firearms, therefore reducing how many people will be able to get access to illegal firearms. And if you have a reduction in the supply of illegal firearms, it increases the price of it, therefore reducing people's access to it. Because if it is the case that it costs a lot from a standpoint to buy weapons, it is the case that people specifically who have access to that money in order to buy it in the first place, it's going to limit the amount of people specifically who can do that. Right, so especially if we're talking about like younger children, people who are in high school or people who are near high school in relation to the context of school shootings or around the age of that, right, wouldn't be able to afford that. Meaning that they, even in the context of a black market scenario, wouldn't even be able to get their hands on a gun like that from a black market setting. They would have to go through other sorts of settings, which at least reduces their access.
Okay, I got a question. All right. So what I'm trying to say is, I get what you're saying about the assault rifles and like the school shooters and whatnot, which shouldn't be happening anywhere. 100%. But what I'm trying to say is, I get that you're saying you're trying to ban the ban for the assault rifle, but couldn't a Glock with a switch on it do just about the same thing, other than the damageability from the bullet itself?
Actually, it could probably be worse than.
So then why do school unalivers then tend to use ARs?
Or Vegas.
So why do they use it? That I don't know. But there's also a lot of other ways to kill people. Well, okay, then all right, that's fine. Let's take school shootings for as an example. Why do we not have like where my kids go to school? I'm not going to get into where that's at. There is sheriffs,
armed guards. Awesome.
Yeah, not. Hold on. I please don't. I didn't say armed guard. There is county sheriffs that are there all the time. Mm-hmm. We spend all this money and all this other stuff. What is so wrong with having either armed guards is fine or police there to supervise? And then also, where's one more thing, and then I'll let you go. And where is the personal responsibility of some of these parents to some of these kids that aren't keeping track of where their kids are or where these firearms are? And I 100% agree with you. Those things should be locked up.
Awesome. Agreed. How did that work in Uvalde?
How did that work in Uvalde with what?
The armed guards.
Well, so if you want to look at Uvalde for a reason, why did it take them over 75 minutes to even get into school? What are they waiting for?
77 minutes. Yeah,
sorry.
That's the question that I'm asking. How did that work? Did it work?
It didn't. It worked. Well, no, it didn't work. But that's a different problem.
How did that work in Parkland?
It didn't work.
How did that work in Columbine?
It didn't work.
Santa Fe?
All right, I see your point. Okay.
Yeah.
So how
and
would
also,
you? So
hold on, because let me finish. Let me finish now. So we also, in not just giving you exact examples of how this doesn't work, we also have studies on this, right? So this is the presence of armed school officials in fatal and non-fatal gunshot injuries during mass school shootings. This was published on JAMA. And we're going to go ahead and scroll down to the bottom to get the results. It says, based on the above multivariate models include the presence of an armed guard and control for region, school type, grade level, location, use of lockdown drills, if the attack was targeted, total number of weapons brought to the scene, number of shooters, and weapon type. The results are presented as incident ratios in table 2, which would be above, and show armed guards were not associated with significant reduction rate of injuries. In fact, controlling for the aforementioned factors of location and school characteristics, the rate of deaths was 2.83 times greater in schools with an armed guard present. So we have real world examples. We have data and statistics as well. This is why armed guards is not the solution. In fact, armed guards is a reactionary situation, but we need to be proactive because reactionary leaves children dead.
For sure. But you can't, so the whole problem with school shootings isn't just one. So I didn't say it was just armed guards. There's many, many different facets that these school shootings happen. And the reason that they happen, there's we're the responsibility of, how was the firearm procured? Was it procured from a friend,
77%,
a family member, off the street? That's the first thing.
Yeah, 77% of all, well, I'll answer them one at a time. I have ADHD, so I don't like answering like
me too.
6 or 7 questions. All right,
Good.
so 77% of all firearms used in school mass shootings are acquired legally.
Legally how? Is it purchased or from a family member? So can you define that? So can you give me some more context to that, please?
Yes. 7% were illegal.
So, okay, so let's back up for a second. So some of these school shooters, so refresh my memory just because I'm at work, okay? Yeah. So I happen to, hold on, let me ask a question. So the school shooter in Tennessee, how old were they?
14.
How did they go purchase a firearm when they're 14?
They didn't. They're dead.
We just said, okay. And what about...
did I say 100% of the time or did I say 77%?
Okay, so what about Uvalde? How old was the shooter in Uvalde?
18.
Okay. And Parkland.
He legally purchases DDM4 and his S&P 15.
Okay. So we both, as we stated, that this problem has many different there's many different issues, not just one. So one is perhaps.
Well, so I agree
and
that
I have
we need
ADHD
to do something.
too, so I'm with you there. So
we need to agree to do something about that 23%, but why are we not focusing on the 77%?
Okay, so that's fine. So can we table that for a second?
Sure.
Okay, so what are some of the other factors that contribute to these school shootings?
You're the one that said you had a whole list of them. So
no, I do. I just said okay. So sorry. I told you.
The number one. Too. The number one is access to firearms because you can't shoot up a school if you don't have access to the firearm.
Okay, and then also you probably have a some sort of, I don't know if you want to call it societal or some sort of, kids that have there's obviously a mental illness problem in this country. I would 100% agree in that.
Right. So the statistics don't show that either.
So you're telling me that the statistics say that there's no crazy people walking around? I mean, I can take you where I live. I can find plenty of them.
That's not what I said at all. But statistically speaking, somebody with mental health issues is 5 times more likely to be the victim instead of the perpetrator of firearm violence.
Okay, so the one in Tennessee, didn't that person have mental health issues?
Yeah, once again, I didn't say 100%.
Oh, okay, so we can agree though, as you're proving my point, is that
I'm not proving your point. You keep focusing on the smaller number, and I'm talking about the higher number.
Okay, but
David,
my point.
How do you feel about Republicans specifically that aren't willing to fund mental health care? Right. For example, Democrats are advocating for universal health care, and that extends to mental health care.
So I don't. We'll go back for a second. I don't necessarily believe in completely universal health care. And I have some examples why. I have family members that were born in Italy, waited. There's things about public health care, universal health care that are good, and there's also some things that are bad about it. A couple examples of people that were in Italy that has universal health care, and they waited 26, 27 years for two people anything. So universal health care is not the answer to everything. But
well, it is though. It is if you're claiming that it's a mental health problem. See, that's the problem. Republicans always claim mental health, but then they never vote to fund it.
Did you hear
point. No, I know. I'm saying though, here's the problem. We don't obviously as a country believe that it's a mental health problem, because if we did, we would fund mental health. Correct?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm saying it doesn't even have to be universal health care, but Republicans vote against mental health funding constantly. They always blame it on mental health so they don't have to talk about the firearms involved, but they'll blame it on mental health and do nothing about mental health, so that when it happens again, then they can just blame it on mental health again and never do anything. They keep that mental health as a boogeyman instead of actually addressing the situations, right?
Okay.
And we do that because if we keep having a boogeyman that we can blame and blame and blame but don't do anything about, then we never have to talk about the guns.
Okay, and you don't think the other side does some of the same tactics? So the Democrats are completely innocent in everything. So
well, I'm not a Democrat, so such as what?
And I'm not a Republican, so we can agree on that.
Okay,
now,
such as what though?
Such as what? So let's go back for a second. Weren't we talking about school shootings out of Ravenna? So we have a mental health crisis. We have a.
Do you think? Hold on, because I get that all the time too. We have a mental health crisis. Mental health. Do you think that we are on par with our peer countries as in terms of mental health crises?
I honestly have no idea.
We're on par. Like with the UK, for example, we're on par with them. The problem is though. This is really crazy. Hold on. This is really crazy. And there were 22 firearm deaths last year in the UK. 22. Same mental health levels, right? 22. Why do we do that in 5.5 hours then? It's the mental health and not the access to the guns.
So how many stabbings are in the UK? How many people getting run over by cars in the UK?
Less per capita. Did you know that in the UK they have less stabbings per capita?
Oh, okay.
So we have more knifings than they do, and we have the gun violence as well.
Okay.
Which is substantially higher.
Okay. So back to the school shoot. Once again, we all agree that this just isn't a one size fits all solution. It's not.
If we limit access to firearms.
Well, okay, but 100%. How about I have no problem with limiting access. How about it starts at home with parents and responsible people? That's where it needs to start, because you can pass all the laws that you want, but as soon as you have somebody at home that doesn't give a shit, it's not going to matter, bud.
Tell me how you legislate that.
You can't legislate that.
How do you fix that?
It's called people need to get some personal responsibility.
And how do you legislate that?
You can't legislate your way out of. That's another problem with the left. You can't legislate your way or pay for or fund out of a problem when people need to accept some personal responsibility.
Okay, so then as of right now, is there something legislative we can do specifically to reduce the amount of people that could die?
In what regards?
In relation to gun control.
Are we? Is there a way?
Because your argument here relies on there being nothing we can do from a legislative standpoint.
I didn't say no. I made a general statement. I made a general statement that it seems that we just throw money at the problem instead of attacking the real cause of the problem. That's my point.
And what is the real cause? Is it access to guns?
As I said 3 or 4 times, it's many different things. It's responsibility. Let's take it. School shootings. It's a responsibility of parents to keep an eye on their kids. People don't do that now. I'm a parent. I can tell you that 100%. I keep an eye on my kids.
Think about that. Is that so much different between the United States and all these countries around the world that don't have anywhere near the same level?
For sure.
Really? Is that much different? Because I think one thing that we do know that's vastly different is the level of access to guns that we have in the United States compared to other countries around the world, and the culture that creates here in America. So if we know that's radically distinct here in the United States compared to other places around the world, but we don't know that this particular point that you're bringing up is radically distinct here comparative to other places around the world, then you can't actually establish that as the root cause as to why there is a greater level of school unalivings here in the United States comparative to other places around the world.
So, but I can also tell you that some other cultures and, you know, some other countries, specifically parents are probably, I'm not making, probably should say the statement, I'm going to anyways, probably are a little bit more involved in their children's lives and probably a little bit more strict. I think sometimes we tend to be a little bit loose here.
Can you quantify that?
No,
yeah,
I can't.
How do you
can
determine
give you,
that's that much different here in the United States comparative to other places around the world? One, you'd have to quantify
once
it,
again,
and then two, you'd have to be able to make a comparison.
Okay, but once again, there's not a universal one size fits all approach. That's
So
the problem is that both sides need to work together on it. I don't have an issue. Listen, I'm a gun owner.
What you're
I don't
doing
have an
right
issue.
now, but the problem is what you're doing right now is you're talking from your fifis. You're talking from your feelings and what you think. You're not talking about anything that we have factual data or representation to talk about.
Excuse me, I can't sit here and spout out facts and data with a laptop.
Also,
I just jumped out. I'm sorry, I don't have a laptop attached to my head as I'm working.
There's something that my mom always told me, right?
What's that?
Don't talk about shit you ain't know about. And this is one of those situations.
Okay. So you're telling me that we can't have discussion and dialogue unless I can, so people shouldn't interact and have discussions with people unless they have.
I think we shouldn't make claims if we can't back them up.
Okay. That's your opinion. You know what they say about opinions. That's fine. You know what they say about opinions, don't you?
What are you going to say? Everyone has them. Like,
yeah.
Well,
and they all
that's why we need. You just gave the reason why we need evidence. He literally just gave the reason why we need evidence. Like,
God damn, he walked himself into the point so hard it gave him CTE.
Yeah,
Holy
okay.
shit,
You two
baby.
guys are sitting behind computers and laptops and can pull up facts, and some people are out here like working and just want to have an honest dialogue. And then you guys, here's another thing, and then you just
Parker, you and I don't work, man. Hey,
I didn't say that, but my point is that you sit there and condescend and talk down to people that would just want to have an honest discussion.
I do. I'm gonna be honest. Parker's a lot nicer than me. I am very condescending because children are dying, and it's individuals like yourself that do not care. Because I'm telling you what the problem is. I told you what the problem is. No, listen. I told you what the problem is, and you have skirted around every single thing, bringing up things that you think about or that you feel instead of fucking facts. And I'm speaking from this as somebody that has feelings and the stats behind me. You see, Uvalde could have been stopped had we had an assault weapons ban, 100%, right?
It also could have been stopped if we had some actual cops that would have gotten in there and did something about 78 minutes faster.
Right. Yeah. There were 4 cops that were there, a school cop and then 3 city cops before he even walked in the door. Okay. So they didn't prevent it. So if he didn't have access to the gun, he wouldn't have been able to do that. And I say that because everybody tries. Well, they're going to get it illegally. He tried for years. For 2 years prior, he tried and could not access them until he was legally able to get them. And then what he did is he shot his grandma, and then he drove. And sorry, Parker, I'm not trying to get you. I'm able to talk like that on mine, so I do apologize. Then drives his truck, crashes it, starts firing at the people at the funeral home, and then walks casually over to the school. There's 4 cops there. They don't do a damn thing. And then he walks in, and then he kills my son and 18 other students and 2 teachers. An AWB would have prevented that.
That's terrible.
Secondly, Appalachia could have been prevented by red flag laws. In fact, he was known to the FBI, but since Georgia doesn't have red flag laws, they were not able to take the firearms away from the presence to prevent that. Need I continue? I can talk about all the children that lose their lives needlessly because we don't have safe storage. We can talk about all the gun violence that occurs when people that live in states such as mine in Texas, when I can go to my neighbor and sell him my gun for $20 and a handshake and then goes and do these things, and then we don't know where it's at. All of these things that I myself have presented and Parker has presented can stop. And I am sorry, but one life is worth it.
All right. No. I'm not trying to say that we do not have an issue with gun violence. What I am trying to say is the ban on assault rifles, because let's say, for instance, you're right. they don't have access to assault rifles. They can still go get or do however they do to get a firearm to do the exact same thing that they did previously. Is what I'm trying to say.
Didn't we just address this?
Exactly. No.
Yeah,
What I'm
both
trying.
Brett and I addressed this. One thing that I brought up was
was
specifically that the illegal gun supply comes from the legal gun supply. If you reduce the supply overall, it increases the price and it makes it less accessible for people to get access to guns. So, and then Brett brought up specifically the example of the Uvalde shooter who wasn't able to get access to the gun until it was the point in which they were legal in order to be able to get access to it. So it was specifically the law that allowed them to do that. If it was banned, they would not have been able to, like they weren't able to prior when they weren't old enough.
No. What I was trying to say was I was talking about the gun violence itself. There is an issue with gun violence, 100%. But the way that I've seen it is exactly, it's like if they're not following the law, there's gun violence. I will admit that. But what I'm trying to say is if they're not following the law to get the gun 100%, because there's what we would say dirty guns everywhere. Brett, I just want to say sorry for your loss, brother. I mean,
if I can jump in, 100%, man. I feel horrible. I get it. I'd be as passionate, and maybe I wouldn't even say more, but because I feel it. I got kids myself. I completely get it. And my heart goes out to you.
Well, I appreciate that, but here's my thing, right? And I'm not trying to be an asshole, but those are empty words until you apply those to your everyday lives and actually fight for common sense firearm reform, because that is the one thing that will save us. We are on par with the UK, for instance, had a school shooting, Dunblane, Scotland in 1996. They implemented strict firearm laws. They have not had a single one ever since then. And we can blame it on everything. We can blame it on people not raising their kids, but we're on par with that. We can blame it on mental health, but we're on par with the UK. We can blame it on music and movies and everything else we try to do, but
that's stupid.
The UK has the same music and movies. We are peer countries. This is why we are peer countries in almost every single aspect. So tell me, why have they been able to get it down to 22 in a single year, which is 22 too many, but we do that in America in every 5.5 hours.
Yeah, if I can say one thing, I completely, and I'm glad you're such an advocate. All I can say though is sometimes, to get people to listen, I can handle it, but try to dial it back a little bit, because if you come off as an asshole, I'm not saying you are, but some people may not want to listen. And if you hold on, let me finish. If we all really want to work towards less violence, and especially with children, that's all I'm saying, man. I mean, you can say it, you can be the asshole as much as you want to me. I don't care. I'm just giving you some food for thought. That's all.
I mean, the tone policing is crazy, but here's the thing. I don't just do this, right? I'm not just on TikTok. I'm at the Capitol. I'm at all these places. I'm at the rallies. I'm at the marches. I speak in however comes across the best at the time. Right.
Yeah,
and the problem is that especially on TikTok, we have a wide group of people that hide behind fake pictures and fake names, and that will just say stuff that don't know anything in which they're talking about. This is why I always say have stats and facts, because everything else that you're saying is just completely false. And it gets tiring. It gets tiring that people try to talk and everything when they don't know anything about nothing while children are dying. Literally, there is somebody out there dying right now from gun violence, and people don't care. They don't care. And I'm going to tell you this, David, you're a father. I don't know about the bottom guy, but I'm going to tell you all this. And I typically don't bring emotion into this. I bring the stats and the facts. But the reason why I do this, and the reason why I associate myself with people that do this as well, such as Parker, is because I've had to make choices that nobody else should ever have to make. Right,
I'm with you.
I had to
100%.
pick out which cartoon character went on my son's casket. That is a decision that no one should ever have to make. And while we are sitting here bickering about this, we know the solution. We know how to fix it. But what is it going to take? I don't want it to happen to your child. I do this so it doesn't happen to your children. That is why I do this. So I need you to really think hard about this. I don't need an answer or anything, but I want you to think about your child's favorite thing and imagine having to make that decision to put that on their casket. I'm going to need you to think of how it would look like for your child to wear their last attire, because I had to pick out my son's.
Right. No, I appreciate all that, and trust me, I understand where you're coming from. But the whole problem with you, nobody. Let's get honest. That the only way the lobbies in our government are so thick and it's so corrupt that that will we ever? You know what I mean? It's like I get
Yeah, we can. Who did you vote for?
Hold on. God bless you for going to watch. It's like you're swimming against the concrete because it's horrible. So,
yeah, who did you vote for?
I voted for Trump in this time, and I voted Libertarian the one before.
So you actively voted against it. That's my problem here, right? You actively
I get that.
vote against it.
Yeah, well, listen, of course, I didn't know you. I didn't talk to you before when the election happened, but I'm not a one-issue voter either, though. There's many things I didn't like about Harris. There's many things I wouldn't have voted for. I think she's
okay. What's the one thing that means the most to you in this world?
I don't want to get in a public forum, but my family, 100%.
Your children, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. But
you voted against them. You voted against their chance to live. You voted against if you have daughters. You voted against their will to their bodily autonomy. You voted against the right for them to have medical care. You voted against all of these fucking things. So that is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to shit talk, right? Like I said, I'm not a Democrat either. I see shit how it truly is. But my problem is that we need to vote for our children. I don't care if you're left or right or whatever the fuck. I am so tired of this. I wish we could go back to fucking the 90s when politicians actually politics was.
I don't even think it was back then. Yeah, I don't.
No, when it was boring. But the problem is is that you sound like you are a single issue voter. You voting for your family, but you actively voted against it.
Single issue. No, okay. So let's back up. So if you want to talk about, you want to pick many different things. So we'll talk about bodily autonomy and.
No, I don't. I want to stick with the guns. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy in this by saying that you're the thing that you love the most is your kids, but you actively voted against them.
That's not okay. So that's not true because there's many things that I worry about with my children. Not only about gun violence and school shootings, bodily autonomy, all that stuff. So it's not one issue. So yeah, of course, the most important thing to a man or a woman should be their family and whoever else is in their life. That includes if they just have a dog. I don't care. It's none of my business. But there's many things that I worry about for my family, and it's not just about school shootings. And once again, I'm not trying to make this an emotional plea. I feel horrible for you, but there's a lot of things. I don't think we want to talk about some abortion. The government should be involved in that at all. I got such a radical opinion on it. People think I'm crazy.
Voted for Trump, dude. Like, I mean, you voted for Trump, who specifically put people in the Supreme Court with the explicit reason of overturning Roe versus Wade.
So they push that issue back to the states.
Yeah, which restricted people's access to abortion in this country. It led to an increase in maternal mortality in this country.
So my opinion is that the government shouldn't even be involved in that at all. It should be between
exactly. That's what
between a woman
was.
Kamala Harris's opinion or position was not mine. Mine is that it should be between a doctor and the woman, and hopefully there's a man involved in it. Hopefully, and that's it. The government should be involved at all.
Right.
There's no place in for the government here.
That was VP Harris's fucking thing.
I gotta agree with him on that.
Okay. Well, so if that's it, that's what I didn't know that. So once again, I don't think they should be involved in it at all because I also don't think there should be whether they happen or not. I don't know. I don't have the facts. I'm sure you're going to call me out on that.
Hold on one
fine.
second.
I don't know if they do 9-month abortions.
I do need to thank people real quick. Allie, thank you for the $50. Give me some W's for Allie in the comment section right now. They said to send half to Brett. Brett, you got that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You did. Okay, for sure. W's for Brett in the comment section as well. Allie, thank you. I really appreciate it. Aiden, thank you for the $5. Thank you. Emma with the $5. Nicole with the $5. Thank you so much. Cecile, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $25. Thank you, Cecile. All right, you can continue. I just wanted to make sure.
I got one real quick, Parker, if you don't mind. W's in the chat to Mallory, who sent 20. Big W's, big W's.
Yes, everyone. Brett's Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal is in his bio as well. make sure to click on his link tree if you'd like to support him.
I'll follow you too.
Same thing in general for me. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree, the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, and as well as YouTube Super Chat. But yeah, everyone, make sure to like the stream if you're on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. Sorry, get back to where you were. I apologize. I don't mean to cut us off.
Yeah, so as far as like, so I'm not saying that I never don't agree with anything that, let's say, if you want to make this into a Harris versus Trump thing. So, just as most people do, you make a list of I know it was couple people before Parker that were talking about it that say, they plugged it into some app or something that's, said, this is how I should vote. I think that's a bit, seems a bit simple to me, but you should sit and give it a little bit more thought than that. But, so in this case, I probably do agree with her. I agree with her on, a lot of things with, the LGBTQ thing. I don't, if you want, I don't care. I mean, everybody should be treated equally. I have no problem with that. The only issue I have with that is when it comes to children. That stuff, once you're 18, if you're a man and you want to chop off,
what specifically was Harris's policy in relation to
I
children?
don't. So you tell. Okay, so let me turn this back. So what was Harris's policy on LGBTQ? Let's take a specific issue.
She said leave it up to the parent, the doctor, and the child. And for
doctor and the child.
Yeah, and
so
they're not
so
giving
what about
surgeries to children?
Okay, so if that's the case, then how come these surgeries for children happen? Like, how is that happening, in your opinion? Because to me, that's crazy.
Where is it happening?
Okay, if it's not happening, then how come if there's not happening, then how can we talk about it? Like, how is that even? So if you're telling me that there's
Trump brings up a lot of bullshit, conspiracy, fucking nothing.
I'm not talking about Trump. I'm asking you. I'm not talking about Trump.
Why are we talking about this? Because Republicans and Trump specifically put hundreds of millions of dollars into anti-trans ads.
I don't listen. I'm asking you a question. I said. So you're telling. So is your statement?
Why are we talking about this? That's a question you need to answer because you brought it up.
Can you
right?
let me ask? All right, let me ask the question. Do you think there is children under the age of 18 getting gender reassignment surgery? Yes or no? That's what my question was.
I have not seen.
Okay.
Would you like to show me any evidence of this?
I asked you a question. I didn't make a statement on it. That's it. All I said is if it does happen, I don't agree with it. That's all I said.
I was asking
a question.
Do you agree with like states such as Texas and various others, though, to kind of pull this back a little bit? Do you agree with them making it mandatory that third graders know how to dress field wounds and stuff?
That what? Say that again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so third graders are being taught to pack bullet holes because this is such a problem, right?
Oh,
so we're worried about drag queens in schools and everything, but like kids are learning how to protect themselves because us adults aren't protecting them.
Hold on. I'm not trying to say that there was not an issue with gun violence. I was particularly just talking about assault rifles. We do have an issue with gun violence, but typically is by people that doesn't follow the law.
Exactly.
And this goes back to so only law-abiding citizens follow the law. Only criminals are going to break the law. So why have any law at all?
So I think what he's pointing out is how is that going to fix the criminal? It's not.
We need stiffer consequences is what we need.
Exactly.
So we need more regulation.
Yeah. And that's reactionary too. We need preventative measures.
Versus the stiffer consequences is a difference. Like if somebody getting, like, for instance, typically
do you know somebody, brother, that has committed a crime and then they perhaps have gotten out a little bit easy and then go back and do it and they don't give a shit about what happens to them? You probably know somebody. I certainly do.
I don't hang out with criminals.
You got to have compassion. I got somebody that was a criminal, and they
You're
turned
talking
in-
about
hold on.
anecdotal stuff, though. That's the problem that we continuously keep having here, right? So, what you're talking about reactionary versus proactive measurements, right?
Okay.
So, proactive will prevent this. Reactionary leaves children dead. We've already discussed this. Now, when we are talking about things such as like the AR ban and everything, you think that they care about what the consequence is? The vast majority of them go in there with the intent to die. They try to cause as much damage as they can.
Sure.
With more guns being in there means more people dying, right? So they go in there with that intent. So do you think that, oh, you're going to spend life in prison if you do this, means anything to them when we see that a shit ton of them fucking off themselves and then a shit more of them unalived by cop?
Well, nobody's saying that we're going to tell them, hey, you're going to get life if you go do this. I'm talking about after the fact. So that they won't be able out to go do this stuff again. I've seen people...
What do you want to do? What would be your specific solution?
Well, what I'm trying to say is if someone commit a crime, they should just have a stiffer consequence. That way they won't be back out to do the crime again.
Such as?
No cash
bail.
bail.
I've seen people. I've literally seen people. I don't know certain things that I can say on here, but I've literally seen people get away with certain.
For example, for mass unalivers, what extra penalty could you put on to their sentence?
You're going to say it
what
doesn't
they're
matter
already
'cause they're
going
dead.
to get that would restrict them
they're
from
dead.
doing this again? Would they be in prison for the rest of their life, or they would already be unalived? Or
Yeah.
What specific consequence is actually going to change any of the conditions for whether or not this is going to occur? That's why we're saying we have to engage in regulation. That's what reduces people from getting harmed in this way. That's the only way we specifically can in this context.
I keep seeing people comment, give up the guns, but wouldn't that violate the Second Amendment?
Well, what is the minigun, like RPGs?
Right to the bear arms is what I'm trying to say.
Do you think people should be able to have fully automatic weapons?
You can't.
No, do you think they should be allowed to? Because the Second Amendment, right, doesn't allow for that, right? It's well regulated.
No,
I'm trying to say. Go ahead.
You can, but you have to have a Class 3 stamp. You have to go through a rigorous background.
Right. So the only firearms that we have an individual right to own per the 2008 ruling on DC v. Heller by Antonin Scalia, right, is the individual right to own a handgun for home defense. That is the only one. The rest are just privileges. So next.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So, and I understand your where you're coming from with school shooting. I mean, I can also make the case though, like I don't want my children; they shouldn't have to know how to pack bullet wounds in third grade. I have kids; they go through shooter drills too. I think it's complete bullshit. But I also don't think that I should have to worry about sending my son over across the pond to get blown apart in another country either.
Cool. Are children doing that, or are you a legal adult?
No,
Who makes that decision?
Well, right now, right now it's there. What I'm saying, if we ever have a situation where the draft was enabled again, and you had to go back across.
Let me ask you this question: do you think that like Democrats are more pro-war? Is that what you're saying?
I think both parties are more pro-war than they should be. We're too focused abroad, not more for home.
When comparing the two, who is more pro-war?
Let me think about that.
Department of War.
Because you're calling it a different name.
No, I didn't. They did. They did.
So
I didn't do that.
So you're saying that that's more pro-war because you changed the name?
That's what they said, not us. That's what Pete Hegseth said himself.
I'm worried more about defending, right? Not going out and warring, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just us, right?
To me, changing it from defense to war is more probably from their perspective. Once again, So
if you agree with us that changing the name of Department of Defense to Department of War doesn't invoke any actual real meaning or any influence on policy overall, well, then you're telling us that the goal they specifically had when doing that was not met, and that it was completely irrelevant to do. They're just wasting their time changing names.
I didn't get a chance to finish what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
What I was going to say is that I think that. And maybe it was a bit of an overcorrection, let's say. I don't know. I can't get into their minds, and I don't want to, frankly. is that the probably trying to bring back some of that. Let's say if you had, that very butt kicking. I don't know what you can say on whatever TikTok, but they're trying to get back to a true warrior and not this.
That sounds pretty
get
pro
more
war
of
to
a-
me. That sounds pro war. They're trying to
Well,
get
if
back
it's-
to the warrior. That sounds pro war.
Okay, pro war is that if you go in there, you do the job correctly versus just going out and picking a fight with anybody. That can be two different
That's
things.
what Trump's doing. Trump literally just drone striked 4 different boats off the coast of Venezuela, specifically where they had no evidence that they were drug boats.
And then
and it was in international waters where we do not have we do not have jurisdiction over that.
And then Obama,
also,
and then
if they
Obama
specifically were bringing DRUGS to the country, well, then we should have just arrested them once they got into our waters.
Parker, you get no argument with me out of that. I already told you that. I don't think once again, I'm more libertarian. I don't think we should be involved with any of that stuff.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. So you're worried about your kids once they're adults going over across seas to a war zone. Why don't we do anything about the war zones that are happening in our schools?
Why don't we do anything about our war zones in our streets also? Why?
Yeah,
I mean,
why?
I don't know. You answer.
Maybe because we have a convicted criminal who literally is a violent sex offender in the Oval Office who incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol and pardoned the violent rioters who beat police officers and called them patriots.
Now we're going to go down this right. Okay, great. So you're telling me Joe Biden was the saint as in his daughter's diary, he's showering with her at the age of 13, and that's okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. There was no age listed. Also, that the contents were not verified. Specifically, there was the contents. Listen, the contents were not verified. Ashley Biden said herself that people were misinterpreting and taking things out of context, and specifically applying things that were not the case at all. False accusations about people that she loves and cares about. So that was not actually verified in terms of the data.
So if you're
in terms of the story, and then also let me please finish. Let me please finish.
All right, I'm sorry.
Also, that was a complete pivot, and that didn't specifically have to do with the things that I brought up about Donald Trump.
Okay, so once again, you're talking about Donald Trump being convicted of 34 counts of essentially paper pushing. That's what that was. That was paper pushing.
Tell me, what was he convicted for? Yeah. Can you tell me?
Misclassification of a contribution or misclassification of paying something to a porn star. So use corporate money.
No, falsification of business records in the first degree, which is a Class C felony in the state of New York because of a predicate crime. So he committed this crime in furtherance of another crime, which is the reason why it's a felony. So that is one of the things. You're going to address the others as well. He's a violent sex offender. He incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol. And he pardoned the violent rioters who beat police officers, and he called them patriots. That's like increasing the level of violence within our society, I would say, right?
Okay, and you don't think that the Democrats have tried?
Hold on, David. I need to ask Parker something real quick. Parker, there's laws against what he did, right?
Yes, actually,
but criminals are going to criminal, right?
Yep. Literally, he continually violates the law. He violates constitutional rights: the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, and the 14th Amendment.
Hold on.
You guys like ganging up on this, don't you? That's all right.
Didn't the Biden-Harris administration do about? Go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead, brother. Jump in.
Didn't Biden and the Harris administration do the same thing and violate the First Amendment, or likely violated the First Amendment with censoring? They didn't.
No, because
they didn't?
You're talking about Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. Saying that like they should do something is different from like saying if you don't do this, then we're going to like give you this type of enforcement or this type of punishment. So there's a huge distinction between those two things. The government can recommend. There's no issue with the government recommending things. That's not against your.
Didn't they do it?
What's that?
But didn't they violate it?
No, they didn't. No First Amendment right was violated in that connotation.
So when people got taken off Facebook, they got taken off Meta.
That was a private platform.
But wasn't they pressured into doing that?
No, so not like enforced from a legal punishment sort of perspective.
All it was
is that the government was saying you should do this.
So the government exerted pressure, maybe, you think? Undue pressure, perhaps?
So pressure doesn't mean that they legally are enforcing them to act a certain way.
So if you have the way of the...
I think the government enforces pressure on plenty of different types of speech, right? Especially those relating to public health and ensuring that like people don't die because of medical and vaccine misinformation. I'm sorry. If you can't realize the situation during the pandemic of how unique that is in terms of like that's a global pandemic. You realize that scenario and how much especially social media was used to like ramp up the amount of people who were literally fucking dead because of the fact that they didn't get vaccinated to a higher extent. Misinformation was rampant during COVID. I used to do lives where I would debate people. My live background was literally just vaccines and masks are effective. And I would have people in my guest box lined up to debate me who disagreed with me. Okay, like it was very prevalent during COVID. That's a huge issue.
There's also some issues that I think that during if you want to talk about COVID, that there was some serious government overreach too, as well.
Like such as?
Like I don't know, forcing closures of businesses.
Under Trump's admin?
That affect, huh?
Under Trump's admin? Because I remember lockdown was when Trump was president.
Or forcing people to take a vaccine. Was that during?
What was the mandate? What was the mandate?
So certain places. Once again, I'm trying not to be specific on TikTok. That you had to be vaccinated, that were government buildings, or you had to be vaccinated for government employment.
That already existed. And they did that for like flu vaccines. They did that for other vaccines already.
No, they didn't. No, they did not have it for flu vaccines. You are incorrect. I know this 100% for sure. Okay, all right. So give me an example. So no, they didn't.
Not just that, but is being a part of the military, is that being a part of a government job, because you have to get vaccinated to join the military as well.
Yeah,
and that's mandated, by the way. So is that like unconstitutional or against it or anything, or no?
Well,
yes or no.
Well, so that's a slippery slope.
It's not a slippery slope. You say that it's a slippery slope because if you admit that that we've been doing it and that's just how it is, then you have to admit that there was nothing wrong with the vaccines being mandated. Or
so you think so you think every single vaccine everybody should take them? There should be no.
I wanted to finish my point real quick. So in the context of the government, in the context of the military, and especially in the context of healthcare providers, for example, the ones specifically at Walter Reed that took care of Donald Trump, they were required to get different types of like vaccines, especially like flu vaccines.
I have people in healthcare. I know all about it. So go ahead.
So that's an example of government jobs that were mandated specifically to get the flu vaccine.
And so there's also, so you said that they're all the time. So once again though, not the vaccine isn't always a one size fits all fixes everything. It doesn't. I'm not pro-vax, pro or anti-vaccine. I don't care. I like it. Once again, I'm up to individual choice.
Let me clarify here. The COVID vaccine you're saying was just specifically for governmental jobs, right? Again, that's fine. There's no issue with it being on governmental jobs.
No, I didn't say that. No, it was governmental jobs, but some people there's also a lot of other businesses that put that in there that I can't.
That one was determined unconstitutional. The OSHA mandate for businesses that had over 100 employees.
No, in the entertainment business, in the entertainment industry, there was a huge prevalence of you had to be vaccinated to go back to work.
Private companies.
Some of them weren't private, but that's okay.
Which ones?
A lot of the arts, I know. Oh, a lot of the arts foundations.
Not private filming companies? What are you talking about?
No, art. Okay. I'm not going to disclose where I live. All right. But
I'm not asking
some of the but some of the places that have this are not, they are government funded. I promise you. I know it for 100%.
Oh man. No, close the book.
I think that was on page 37, that one was.
Close the book. Because I know exactly what you're about to do. Quick question, Parker.
I find it kind of disingenuous that you like to just sit here and laugh and snicker and like, oh, I got your moments.
I'm sorry, you had no evidence that I pulled out the Trust Me Bro book. It's a typical joke.
Hold on. If you guys are really trying to foster people to engage and work with you, I'm telling you, this is not the right way to do it. Is to sit there and snicker and go, I got you.
I'm sorry. You can't take a simple
joke.
It's a joke because you didn't have a source.
All right.
It's a joke because you didn't have a source. Right? I think that's totally fair to do. If that turns you away, that's tough shit.
No, I'm not. There's no turn away. But next time I'll definitely have my sources ready.
Also, like, I mean, I don't really think that's likely to turn people away who are Trump supporters. I mean, Trump had a nickname, an insult for every single person he ran up against. So, like, I mean, I don't think insults are going to really turn you away that much.
Yeah, but so if you want to go back, if you want to go back to some of the, so you're telling me that let's go back to, we'll talk about. You're talking about inciting violence. So you're telling me like some of the Maxine Waters stuff, that some of that wasn't inciting violence as well? Are you familiar with what she said? She said go out and get in people's. So during the Summer of Love, during 2020.
I'm confused how that's relative to like the national election.
Well, okay. So you were talking about the worst day in American history, which was January 6th, right? That was worse than Pearl Harbor. It was like the end of the world.
I mean,
which is how it's portrayed on the left.
I just said that Donald Trump pardoned violent rioters who beat police officers. It was an active threat against our Constitution and our core American values, right, and our literal democracy.
Oh, I definitely don't. I definitely have issue with some of the things that happened on January 6th. But I think but my point is though is in the same regards. Let's take that same lens and look at some of the stuff that was happened on the other side of the aisle, or Maxine Waters is telling to get in people's faces. And people that are going out to dinner, which I've seen, like, just going crazy, and getting their faces.
You're comparing an insurrection to what?
What is it? What's your definition of an insurrection? Isn't an insurrection
a violent uprising against an authority or a government?
Don't you usually have to have weapons? How are you gonna?
They broke in with a riot shield.
How'd they overthrow?
Right, DJ Rodriguez drove a stun gun to the neck of a police officer after that police officer was beaten over the head with a rod. I mean, I can give you multiple examples of how specifically people utilized violence and utilize specific weapons.
But Parker, hey, hold on, let me ask Parker something. Parker, hey, you know these guys are like pro 2A people, right? And we know that the Second Amendment is about the well-regulated militia, yada yada yada. The 27.
Oh, here
words,
we go with the
all
militia
that.
business.
No, yeah. But isn't it funny, though, that like in the articles, right, it says that Congress has the power to call forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union to suppress insurrections and repel invasions. So if you were really pro 2A, you would have been on Donald Trump's ass to call in the militia, which would be our National Guard, to shut that shit down. Doesn't seem very pro 2A to me.
Who's in charge of Capitol Security? Do you remember?
Is the Capitol Security the militia? Is it the National Guard? No, but the president is. The president, Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution says that the president is commander-in-chief of the Army, the Navy, and of the militia of the several states.
If I remember correctly, and once again, I don't have a laptop attached to my head, but wasn't there an order signed to have additional National Guard troops there? And didn't Nancy Pelosi deny it?
Nancy Pelosi wasn't in charge of the National Guard.
Nancy Pelosi is in charge of Capitol Security.
No,
not in charge of the National
Guard. She did not have the authority over the national security, or National Guard.
Capitol Security. No, there was an order signed for additional troops.
Once again, who's in charge of DC National Guard?
Okay, so what I said,
no,
if you will, please.
Right, but this will answer your question. Who is in charge of the DC National Guard?
DC.
The president. Who was the president?
Donald Trump. I know.
So Donald Trump was in charge of the National Guard, which is the militia, which if you are actually pro 2A, I've already given you the article, right? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15 says that Congress shall have the power to call forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union to suppress insurrections. An insurrection happened that day. That was a violent uprising against an authority or a government. So therefore, if you were pro 2A, then you would have been for Donald Trump calling in the National Guard to put them down. But you weren't. So you are not pro 2A, nor are you for this country, because
here we go with the ad hominem attacks.
This isn't an ad hom attack, because if you were, then you would think that the insurrection on January 6th was a terrible thing, it was un-American, and was unpatriotic.
Well, you won't even let me tell you what my opinion on January 6th, because you just keep interrupting. So if you just want to keep spurging over me, that's fine.
Oh, don't use
if you actually want to hear my opinion over it, then that's
term. Don't use that term.
Okay. Why? Okay. Once again, that's fine. So what I was going to say is January 6th, there certainly was some violent people that were there that did things that they shouldn't have done. But there's also been violent uprisings all over the place. And I condemn violence in any form, facet, and type. But to characterize everything that happened, what should it have happened? No. But there was probably, I don't know the exact numbers. I'm sure you guys do, but there was probably 200 or 300 people that were violent. They served their time, and then he pardoned some other people. I do know people that were there and that were outside and did 2 years in jail for just being there physically
we're not talking about people who are just there. I mean, we think they're idiots.
But
and we can
those,
say we think that they should have punishment. But the point we are making is about the people who
punishment for being there. How can you? People were part. So people
you were getting mad at us cutting you off, but now you're cutting me off.
No, okay. Can I just finish what I was going to say? What I was going to say is people that were there physically on site didn't even go into the Capitol. Some of those people were sentenced to 2 or 3 years in jail for physically being there when it is their right to be there, to redress.
Sounds like they should have had stricter punishments beforehand so that they didn't do these things in which they broke the law again. Correct? Back to your previous argument. Are these the same individuals that you know?
Previous argument for people that what I said is there was a lot of people that were there just to they shouldn't have been punished at all. If you just go there just to protest, so are you telling me that people
why did you shift the conversation to start talking about this rather than addressing what we originally brought up in terms of the violent rioters who beat police officers and Donald Trump specifically pardoned?
Because so once again, I said people that have committed violent acts should be prosecuted. People that didn't shouldn't have been.
They were already convicted and Donald Trump pardoned them. I'm telling you this because it is the case that shows that Donald Trump condoned the violence on that day. He pardoned them. He called them patriots.
And what about the people that were there, were nonviolent, and didn't do anything
I'm sorry.
wrong?
Why do you keep bringing up them? That's not who I'm talking about right now.
Okay. So what? How many years? So since you're judge, jury, and executioner, how many years should they have served for what they did? Like what's an acceptable form of punishment for them? Like, should they have been shot, killed? Like, should they have the death penalty?
No, I don't believe in the death penalty.
So when is your standard of justice? Didn't a lot of them go through? I mean, if they go through the court system, correct? Doesn't the court system apply?
To be fair, everybody broke the law that was there. There were not permits. You have to have permits. They therefore broke the law.
Yeah, wait. Why is he? Wait, do you care about undocumented immigrants coming to the country?
Why are you shifting?
Wait,
you just said don't shift.
Because
we were talking about this.
They should have no punishment. You see,
didn't you just say don't
broke
shift?
the law and broke into our capital should have no punishment. So you should also agree undocumented immigrants who have not committed a violent crime or bad crime should get no punishment as well, right?
Okay, so back up. You just told me not to shift. So are we shifting now?
Can you address that point? Yes, we are.
So we are. Let me just pin you down there, buddy. So we're shifting now.
We'll shift and we'll shift right back.
Right,
I promise you.
shift.
I just want to hear.
Let's shift.
We'll transform. I promise you. Optimus Prime. Let's do it. Answer the question.
Let's do it, brother. Okay, ask it again. Go ahead.
Roll out.
I actually like Autobots. Remember Voltron? You're probably old enough to remember that.
No. Answer.
You're not that old? Okay.
All right, I already told you my point on the immigration.
Wait, hold up. I want him to address that point.
Permits.
I asked you to ask it again.
Okay,
please.
Yeah, wait. Why is he? Wait, do you care about undocumented immigrants coming to the country?
Why are you shifting? Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Okay, we're talking about this.
They should have no punishment. You see,
Didn't you just
people
say don't
broke
shift?
the law and broke into our capital should have no punishment. So you should also agree undocumented immigrants who have not committed a violent crime or bad crime should get no punishment as well, right?
Are you done? Okay, so I said people that if you break the law, then yes. Entering the country illegally is by definition breaking the law.
Yeah, so they should be punished for it if they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, right?
People, if you break the law, you should be punished, period. I said people that were there protest. I said
Okay,
people
what
that were
about
there.
the people that broke into the Capitol on January 6th who
I
committed
said
crimes?
people that I said, okay, listen, replay it back if you want. I said people that were outside that didn't break into the Capitol. Listen,
Okay, so
clean up,
people who
clean.
did break into the Capitol and they didn't commit a violent crime or bad crime,
People
they should be
that did
punished.
not. Oh, can you let me? Or are you just going to go? Okay, people that were outside peacefully protesting did not. I said people. I know of people that didn't even break into the Capitol or go into the Capitol or do anything that were sentenced and went to jail. And I think that was unjust. That's my
So
thing.
you know people pardoned by Trump?
I know. So I'm not. So people, I'm saying. So you're telling me that you can't go to the. You can't go down to Washington and protest anymore?
I'm just asking.
Don't they do that all the time?
I'm asking. Do you know people pardoned by Trump?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
You just
I'm
said
gonna
that,
plead
didn't
the
you?
fifth on that.
Didn't you just say that?
I said I know of some people. I
so
say
you,
if
so
I
you
know them,
people who were pardoned
if I
by
know them
Trump.
personally or not, I will neither confirm. I'm going to plead the fifth. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, when you plead the fifth, we know what the answer is. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not
Do you think that
necessarily.
we're not MAGA? You know what I mean? Like.
Okay, so back to what was my question is, I said, so you just said, so you can't, so going to the, I'm going to ask you a question now. So going to the Capitol to protest outside is illegal? That's what you're telling me.
If
And
you
people
don't
are
have the
breaking
permits.
Is that a federal permit or is that a local permit or is that a state?
You have to have a permit to be there. So yes,
So
everybody
you're
does.
telling me, okay.
To protest 100%, you have to have.
And that happens all. So then if you don't, so
I've
if you don't,
literally protested on the steps of Congress before, and guess what? We had to have a permit. And you know what we did? We got the permit.
Yeah, it's nothing different.
So they broke right. So then they broke the law. So by your own admission, people who break the law
should be punished.
They should be
all right,
punished.
so all
yes or no?
So, okay, I have one question though. So people that went to Washington D.C. and gathered in the square, they need a permit as well. Like if you just show up you need a permit. Let's say Trump says there was 2 million people there, right? Isn't that what he says?
Why are we even having a conversation at this point?
Hold on a second.
The point is you agree. I just wanted to clarify. You agree that people who broke into the Capitol, who walked in, who did
I
not
didn't say break. Once again, I said people that were out. Listen.
No, let me finish my point. Listen to my full point.
Then that's fine. But then listen to what my question then.
So people who walked in should not have been pardoned?
I said people that were outside that didn't break into the Capitol should have not been.
Can you answer my specific question?
Prosecuted. People, if you broke inside, then yes, I have no problem with that. But outside, no. That's all I was trying to tell you.
So if you walk inside, you disagree with them being pardoned, correct?
In certain situations, probably, yeah. I probably would agree with you.
So you only agree with a small percentage of people who are pardoned actually being pardoned. So we can talk about that in a second.
I don't know
you have friends who got pardoned. Do you want them to be pardoned?
Hey,
Fine, and get that.
Easy there, buddy.
But the point,
don't be doxing
easy there. I didn't. You said that yourself. I'm sorry. We're not stupid.
All right.
Okay.
Fine.
We are not dumb.
Hey.
We can do 2 plus 2. We know that 2 plus 2 equals 4. You literally said it on the live stream.
Some people say it isn't 4. That's fine. Okay. I don't care.
I'm not going to act like people don't know that based upon what you already said.
That's fine. It's all good. People know who they are.
No, people don't know who they specifically are, but you're bringing more attention to it by doing this.
Okay, all good.
Okay, I understand.
So we're talking. Let's go back to what you're talking about. So undocumented immigrants. So you're telling me that. So once again, they didn't break the law by entering the country. Is that what you're saying?
They did break the law, but we don't really give a fuck. Essentially, because it didn't hurt anyone. It wasn't a bad thing. And I think that the best way to ensure that they're vetted is by providing them a pathway to citizenship where they do not have to leave the country. Right? If they've not committed a violent crime or bad crime. If they have committed a violent crime or bad crime, I don't have an issue with them being deported. I think that they should be deported on the condition that they are put in a prison in another country.
Perhaps we have some agreement on this one. Now, I have no issue with them. I mean, our country was built on immigrants. I mean, but there needs to be a process. I think we can all agree on that, correct? people just running across the border and getting into the country.
Well, the process, we incentivize people to go through the process by making said process go quicker. The current process right now, it takes way too long to go through said process, and that's what incentivizes people to go through the process undocumented. But here, let's address it back and kind of get back to what we were bringing up earlier, because I think that a lot of these things are important to like bring us back to.
Go for it.
What is the main reason you support Donald Trump?
Oh, we're going back to this again.
Yes.
Here, who's the other guy? No, hold on. Who's the other guy here? Give me a minute. I need to get the water. You jump in for a second. I need to get a water.
All right. The reason why I didn't vote for Harris was because me personally, I don't think that she was ready enough. She tried this in 2020. The poll numbers were just not there, so she stopped. Then she became vice president, and then I just
to be vice president.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is she didn't have the polling numbers then. And this time around, I just don't feel like she was ready to be president just yet.
She did have the polling numbers. 80% of the Democratic Party was satisfied with her being the nominee. In the primary, they voted for the Biden-Harris ticket, meaning if that Biden stepped down, Harris would step up. No one ran against her, so it was the case that she was like literally the undisputed candidate of the Democratic Party. If you cared about democracy, you would be voting for a guy who literally pardoned violent rioters who beat police officers after inciting a violent insurrection at the Capitol, and who also still to this day denies the 2020 election results with absolutely no evidence.
Listen, I'm not trying to say I agree on everything Trump do. I mean, do you agree with everything that Harris?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, no, so you guys agree? We're not saying we agree with 100% everything, but we are saying
I'm not saying that neither.
More with Kamala Harris comparative to Donald Trump, and the specific things that I'm bringing up in terms of Donald Trump are literally disqualifying things, like literally inciting a violent insurrection at the Capitol, right? And calling for them to overturn the election results and pardoning the violent rioters who beat police officers. That is absolutely a disqualifying thing, I think.
All right. What I'm trying to say is I do not agree with Trump 100% on everything. But I think that he was a better candidate than former vice president like Kamala. Well, because you look at the interviews she did. Word salads. I'm just gonna say that you can agree to disagree, but she just had word salads. Some people, even in her Democrat Party, criticized her for having that.
No, you could give me a single clip. Watch this though. I want you to watch this.
I couldn't give you a single clip.
Journalists acted here days, weeks, months, and does that have anything to do with the immigration judges you just spoke about being trained and staffed here?
When you say, what was the first part of your question?
Is there a specific time frame you expect the detainees to spend here? Days, weeks, months?
In Florida?
Yes, here at Alligator Alcatraz.
I'm going to spend a lot. Look, this is my home state. I love it. I love your government. I love all the people around. These are all friends of mine. They know them very well. I'm not surprised that they do so well. They're great people. Ron has been a friend of mine for a long time. I feel very comfortable in the state. I'll spend a lot of time here. I want to, for 4 years, I've got to be in Washington, and I'm okay with it because I love the White House. I even fix up the little Oval Office. I make it, it's like a diamond. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It wasn't maintained properly, I will tell you that. But even when it wasn't, it was still the Oval Office, so it meant a lot. But I'll spend as much time as I can here. My vacation is generally here because it's convenient. I live in Palm Beach. It's my home. And I have a very nice little place, nice little cottage to stay at, right? But we have a lot of fun, and I'm a big contributor to Florida. Pay a lot of tax, and a lot of people move from New York, and I don't know what New York is going to do. A lot of people moved to Florida.
Can you tell me what the question was?
I wasn't even paying attention to what she was. The question she asked, I was just paying attention to what he was saying. Because he was just scrambling. But listen,
so he didn't even answer. He clearly didn't make a coherent point there. I can give plenty of other examples. He said that if Jesus were the vote counter in California, that he would have won. Right? He said specifically that the windmills were causing whales to die in numbers never seen before. He said that we should look into using disinfectant by injection to fight COVID-19. He talked about nuking hurricanes to prevent them from harming the American population.
Listen,
can you, in the spirit of this, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in here, buddy. But can you give me one or two things, maybe three things you disagreed with Harris and or Biden? Because I sure haven't heard any, and I'd like to know some. If you're going to want to be honest about it,
can you address
tell me
everything
a couple
that
things?
I said first, and then I will address that point.
Okay? That's fine. Fair enough. Go ahead, bud. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to run you over.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I didn't want to talk over you guys while you were talking. But like the CBS interview, word salad. You can agree to disagree, but they literally cut it because of that.
So again, in terms of the
No. Yes or no? The CBS interview that she did.
Can you tell me one thing that she said that didn't make sense?
They literally cut the interview because they knew
what did they cut out of it that didn't make sense?
All right,
lots of interviews are cut.
No. Answer this. Did they cut the interview?
Lots of interviews are cut. Most interviews are. If you know anything about
Did they
media,
cut that interview though? That's a yes or no.
If you know anything about media production, it is cut.
But I'm trying to say, did they cut that interview? Yes or no?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, most of them.
But why did they cut it?
Well, you tell me. What did they cut out of it that specifically showed that like she didn't make sense?
They specifically said that they cut that part because they didn't feel that it was relevant enough.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Cutting stuff because you don't think it's relevant, it makes sense.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, shouldn't it just be a full interview?
I'm sorry, you don't understand that?
No. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to give you said word salads. They cut the word salad part out. That's what I'm saying.
What specifically did they cut out? That was.
I'll find it.
I can't remember the whole piece that they cut out.
How can you blame her for it and say that she didn't make any sense when you specifically can't point out specifically what they brought up or what she said? Because they said that they cut it out because it wasn't relevant.
Because it was a word salad. They knew to cut it out because
you have no evidence of that. You have no source specifically that it was because she didn't make any sense. Give me any point. Give me any point where she said something that didn't make sense. I'm serious. Give me any quote where she didn't make any sense.
Do you want to play the entire interview and so we can listen to it? You want to play
Go. You can go look through the transcript. Find me a single quote of hers that doesn't make sense.
You give me 10 minutes, I'll find it.
But real quick too, and I don't mean to interject, but like you two on the panel, have y'all ever done interviews? Like, I'm just curious. Because like I've done I do
interview?
Yeah, well, I do interviews all the time, right?
Interviews, no, but I've been in production for over 30 years, so I know the back end of it.
So what I'm saying though is I do interviews a lot, right? And I speak typically 15, 30 minutes per each interview, and they cut down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they edit it to make it more, to cut out all
shorter.
the fluff.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I got 100%. Yeah, sure.
But what? No. I'm not saying that they like cut it down for whatever reason they did it for. But what I was trying to say was that she was in fact speaking, but some of it was word salads, and you tried to tell me that it wasn't.
Tell me one thing she said that didn't make sense. Go find it. I'm
not going to go through the entire interview.
Well, then you can't make a claim that she said anything that didn't make sense. I gave you multiple quotes of Donald Trump's that made absolutely no sense. I can play clips of you, specifically of Donald Trump, making absolutely no fucking sense and literally saying things that are incoherent as shit. And I can give you several examples of this.
We can also play
There's not a single one of Kamala Harris that you could bring up that is at all comparable to even one of the ones that I brought up about Donald Trump.
Her giggling alone.
Okay,
laughing? Are you kidding? Laughing? How does laughing? How is that incoherent? How is laughing incoherent? I'm sorry, that was the stupidest thing ever said on my live stream. Laughing is incoherent. I just muted him. That was ridiculous.
To be fair, at least he's consistent because he got mad at us for laughing too. Apparently, he just doesn't like joy.
Yeah. Like he's the Grinch who stole someone's laugh, dude. Here, I have a few people to thank, and I only have a few more minutes before I have to get off. But let me thank some people real quick. Stephanie, thank you so much for the $6. I really appreciate it, Stephanie. Thank you. Janet, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Michael, thank you for the $5. Nicole, thank you for the $5. Danielle, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate it. Champs, thank you so much for the $100. Thank you so much. I really appreciate some W's for Champs in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. And Jillian with the $20. Thank you so much, Jillian. I really appreciate it. Can we get some W's for them in the comment section right now? I also have to catch up on YouTube real quick. Give me 1 second. Ron, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much, Ron. I really appreciate it. And BC with $100 on YouTube Super Chat. Can we have W's for Ron and BC in the comment section as well? Thank you so much. That's fucking crazy. Thank you so much, Ron and BC. I really appreciate it. Kimberly, thank you for the $1. Jen, thank you for the $10. Thank you. Coral with the $10. Sunnyside, thank you for the $5. Philip with the $5. Fumbling, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $10. Coral with the $10. Thank you. Vrillin, thank you so much for the $5. Trin with the $5. Bella with the $2. Tim, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $2. Ryan with the $2. Tim with the $5. Angel, thank you for the $10. Valentine, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And by the way, if I missed anyone's, I do really, really apologize, everybody. It's been a minute since I've thanked everyone. I really apologize. Xavier, thank you so much for the $10 as well. Thank you. I'm about to get off here in a few minutes, everyone. You guys can say your last words, by the way, everyone.
All right, I'm just gonna. Oh, go ahead, David. Or Brett. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna give my thank yous real quick too, if you don't mind, Parker.
Go ahead.
Big W's in the chat to Kelly for the 25, to Joanne for the 10, for Jillian for the 20, for Kaylin for the 10, for Charles for the 50, Cassie for the 5, Tiffany. Big W's. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
I'm the Beard. Thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so you guys can go real quick as well.
David, do you want to go first?
Oh, so I'm not muted anymore?
Yeah.
All I was saying before you muted me is that instead of sometimes answering the question, she would giggle and laugh. And maybe it was nervous. I don't know. But if you want to provide, we all could go through many examples of Joe Biden speaking complete gibberish or talking incoherently, and nobody's
I like how you
not
had to
going to
reach
say.
back to Joe. It's always what about Bidenism?
It's not reaching that far back. He was president 9 months ago.
Didn't Trump
Not the
just
last
end his
candidate.
presser while laughing? Like 5 days ago, didn't he?
I
end
said
his last presser with laughing?
Instead of I said it could have been nervous energy.
Wait, I'm sorry. Laughing
conceded that
does
part.
not necessarily indicate nervous. If anything, it might indicate like someone's comfortable and they're laughing and they think something's fun. They think something's funny. Like
Sure. But but instead of some of the questions of having a substantive answer, I think maybe she nervously laughed. I would appreciate on both sides.
well, like I
as
would love to give you
politicians-
like you can't even give me one
Hold
quote
on,
of what she
hold on.
said that was
I w-
comparable to anything I brought up.
Well, neither one of us have time to go through and look through the interview, but
I
I'm
did.
happy to next time.
I already
Good
have.
for you. All right, good. But my point is, I think we could all agree that instead of laughing or not answering the question, it would be refreshing to see
I think she
politicians
answered
on
the
both
question. I think Trump doesn't.
politicians on both sides to just say they don't know. And if you could, you promised, you said you would give us 2 or 3 things that you didn't agree with the Biden-Harris administration on. So if you are willing to honor what you said in your word, I think we'd all appreciate that.
Yeah,
Well, I think what he's trying to ask is there anything that you would is there anything that you think the Biden-Harris administration could have done differently?
Yeah, thanks. That's exactly.
Yeah, so I definitely disagree with their stance on Israel. I think that the case that I think that there's a genocide going on in Gaza, and I think that that was actively funded and perpetuated specifically by both administrations. And I think that historically the United States has supported the state of Israel, and it's historically I think that we should not have done so, and we should not be doing so in terms of these scenarios. I don't believe in ethno-states. I believe in states with equal rights and secular nations.
I'm glad that you named some of those things because
But also, wait, that was only one thing. I have a few more. I believe in a universal healthcare system like Medicare for all. Right, I believe that there should be more gun control regulation than they would probably advocate for, to be totally honest, in terms of restrictions. Right, I would specifically advocate for universal childcare. Right, that wasn't something that was particularly advocated for in the administration. I think that they should have talked more about trans people specifically instead of allowing the right to make a scapegoat out of trans people. They should have addressed the talking points, right, and should have defended trans people. Right, I can provide so many different examples of things that I disagree with, but while simultaneously acknowledging that it is the case that I think that they are better candidates than Donald Trump vastly.
Okay, so well, I'm glad that you named some of those things. Sorry to cut you off, David, but taking a look back at something that she had said previously, because me and you both know the Biden and Harris administration throughout their time, times were tough. Inflation was up, car prices, interest rates, everything was up. It was hard for people. And she says something that I think completely wrecked her when she went on The View, and they asked her simply, was there anything that you would have done different from Biden? And she said, nothing comes to mind.
Well,
At that time,
you should read her book. She talks about this and specifically talks about how she thinks that she should have differentiated herself from Biden to a greater extent as well.
Well, I'm saying at that given moment, those things should have been said that, would have been differently from Biden, because at the particular time, people were going through a lot of stuff, and there was a lot of things that came to their mind as well as your mind, but nothing came to her mind is all I'm saying.
Well, no, it did. She talks about it. I would recommend to read her book if you want to go through this, or at least look at like the summaries people specifically did over the book, because I think that like you are looking for like her insight on the matter, and I think that she provides a lot of her insight specifically in that book, at least to why she thought that way, right, and why she acted that way specifically in relation to like all the stuff that was going on, because she had 107 days. She was constantly doing things. She had no breaks. She was constantly working the entire time. Absolutely no breaks. So like we also have to think about it from that perspective. Like she's constantly overstimulated by probably a million different things, right? A million, like all the time, because she had to run right an entire campaign and like significantly less of the time, right, than you're exposed to. Like there's been no candidate throughout history that's been run that quickly, close to the election time, right, and specifically one. So she had a lot of pressure as well.
Do you think the fact that they didn't have a formal nomination for her hurt her?
They did have a formal nomination for her.
Well, I mean,
so
like,
think about it this way: in the primary, that we voted for the Biden-Harris ticket. If Biden steps down,
Sure.
Harris steps up. So that was actually
Right.
like upholding our typical process. So last words, real quick, and then I do have to get off here.
All right, I love how everyone in the comments keeps saying that she only had a few months when she spent well more money than Trump and his campaign, and she still lost.
No,
and
no,
all
no,
of the swing
because she had to catch
Yes,
up over
she
the
did.
last 10 years, because Donald Trump specifically had more funding over the last 3 elections, right? So that she had to catch up to, because people don't know who she is to the same degree, right? And they didn't, even with that, right, it was the case that she wasn't able to get to the same level of name recognition specifically, right, as Donald Trump was, right, because people didn't do the research, didn't pay attention, actually engage with the conversations. And I hear people on my live all the time talking about it who are Trump supporters who just simply didn't know a single policy that she advocated for, right, because they didn't pay attention. But yeah.
They didn't pay attention to her?
Yeah. I do have to get off now.
All right. It was nice speaking with you, Brett.
Yep.
Again, I'm sorry for your loss, brother. I hope. Listen, you guys are amazing. I hope we could do this again one day. And take care, guys.
Absolutely. Sorry for your loss there. Really do feel for you.
Appreciate you coming out.
All right. Thank you guys for the opportunity. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Have a good night. Brett, I appreciate you coming up. Thank you so much. It was really great having you up.
Brother, I appreciate you. Anytime, man. I'm just a phone call away, man. So
absolutely. Wait, if you're are you gonna go live right now?
I'm not. I actually left my live because people were like, "Yo, this is going on," so I'm like, "Bet,"
I got you.
But my last words are, man, I appreciate everything that you do, and I'll be in the comment section tomorrow until needed. So.
Of course, I'll see you. All
right, later, brother.
All right, everyone, I'm going to get off for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for coming through. Go on to my YouTube, like the stream. I would appreciate it. Coral, thank you for the $20 on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much, Coral. I really appreciate it. I'll see everyone tomorrow, everyone. Jaden's about to go live right now. Look up Jaden LeBron. Spam Parker Raid, Spam Love and Parker. Jaden's going live right now. I think he's starting it like right now. So do make sure to go over there on TikTok. Go watch his stream. Love everyone. Have a good night, everyone. I will see everyone later. Peace out, everyone.